Hi, everybody, and welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 41. I am your host. With me, as always, my teenage son, Jackson. Say hello, Jack.
Hi.
Well, we're here again with our booster juice. You're back to what flavor today?
Bananas away.
Gotta update everybody. I've got my strawberry storm.
Mm-hmm.
The weather has been
so interesting.
Miserable. Today is a slightly less miserable, but it's been like
not nice.
Windy, rainy, cold for April nonsense.
Well, in Supercard, the mobile game, the card game, the wrestling card game, WWE thing, they have like a flash event, which is, so usually they'll run events.
It's a hard non sequitur from talking about weather, but go ahead.
Well, I thought we're bantering.
We are. Go ahead. Banter away.
Just because they usually have events. They usually run like 3 days, right? So a flash event is basically like shorter time, like it's like 2 days ish.
Yeah.
But you get like double stuff or whatever, like so Road to Glory, which is like a game where like, so there's like a bunch of cards and it's a certain amount of points, and so you just like progress through them.
Yes.
So this one you get less time, but you get double points. So I've been like
crushing
through
it.
that, and now I'm stuck because game no let me win anymore.
That's a shame.
Yeah. So yeah, that's fun. Oh, Mom just texted me. Is the computer plugged in?
The computer is plugged in. We are only going to record this once this week.
Yeah.
That's nice. I've got a couple people checking on me. We're getting texts from a floor above us to make sure that I have plugged in the computer, because it just shuts off. It doesn't warn you. It just stops. And
the ones we use for notes actually do warn us.
Yeah, they do.
So maybe you should use that one for
to record. I can. I'm starting to figure out how.
You should use the other one for notes.
I am working on other programs, which reminds me, I used other programs to record ROH 501st episode. I talked about that, I think, on Monday. We also put out an Impact Rebellion review episode the other day. So those are available anywhere.
Was Thursday.
Anywhere you're listening to us, those are available. As always, you can contact us, fnswrestling@gmail.com, FNS_wrestling_podcast on Instagram, or leave a comment in the YouTube. Oh, we did get an email this week.
Oh, nice.
From Mark, who
your
asked,
cousin?
Yeah, my cousin. He asked us if we were going to review any. He really likes Dark Side of the Ring, so he's asking if we'd ever do any of that. So
I would be open to that.
I knew you would. My response was like, I'm kind of in a place where I'm not looking to dwell on all the negative stuff.
I don't know. I think
wrestling,
for you, I think if we find a topic that you're okay with, then I would do it.
And it's not like they're really well done and super.
Like we
slick.
watched the Benoit one.
We
I
did.
think it was, right.
Yep. But it just sort of like dwells on stuff that I already mostly know about.
I think next season one of them's like Pillman.
Right.
And
so it's like, hey, here's all the awful stuff in a sport, an activity that you enjoy watching that you already know has tons of horrible stuff.
I don't know if it's the right one. We could.
But yeah, and we get requests. If people contact us and request things, there's a decent chance we'll do it. So.
And I was thinking, speaking of like things you don't want to watch, a funny bonus episode would be reviewing a main roster show.
Saying that today.
I think that would be pretty funny.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we put out some different stuff in the summertime when we have a bit more time. So
have,
Cousin Mark, be on the lookout in the summer. Maybe we'll talk about one for you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other? How was school? I always ask that every week, and you avoid the question. Go ahead.
Fine.
Another week of online school down.
Yeah.
It's looking like I am eligible to get vaccinated starting in early May, so that's nice. I got to figure out the logistics of that and where I want to go.
I don't appreciate people stabbing me.
Well, you are not.
No, I know.
Going to get one,
when
so don't
I
worry
have
about
to
it.
get it, I don't really appreciate people trying to stab me.
Well, it's for your own good, so you would get stabbed if you needed to get stabbed, as you have many times in your life already, and have been fine with it.
I don't like getting stabbed.
That's not about whether you like it or not, unfortunately.
I don't like getting stabbed.
You don't have to like it.
My friend told me about a sale on GTA the one day, so I got this laser gun. It's called a Widowmaker. It's basically a machine gun, but it doesn't really look like a machine gun, and then it's laser. And if I aim it at a car enough, I can blow up a car. And then I also bought...
I think Barry Windham was the Widowmaker way back in the day.
Yeah. Because I had like 1.6 million from like heists and whatnot. And then, so I still have 1.3 million left. And so I bought the Up and Atomizer, which is it's pistol size.
Yeah.
And she was kind of like I don't know if it's like a ray or a laser or whatever. And like it can like flip over cars, and like it just like launches people, and kind of, it's cool.
That's fun.
Wanted it, and it's unlimited ammo.
So video game chat today in the banter is basically what you're saying. Because what else can you do in a lockdown when it rains every day?
I've been doing things. That's basically the only things I've been doing.
Nice. And I have not been doing much other than working down here in this little office. You've joined me a couple times here and there.
Secluded from society.
That is correct. Just where I want to be. But anyways, we should probably talk about some wrestling at some
Oh,
point.
you got your Dunder Mifflin mug on
I
there.
did bring my Dunder Mifflin mug down
do you have
here.
coffee in it, or is
No,
it
I just like it more as a decoration, I think.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Right? Ode to the office.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into talking some wrestling. Our first segment is always going to be, and this week as well, news and rumors.
You know, I just thought it would be funny is if you put because it says world's best boss, right? So you just put a piece of tape that says podcaster.
Yeah,
That'd
definitely.
be funny.
We are the best for
Yeah.
sure.
Fastest growing too.
Yeah, absolutely, at a snail's pace. I'm going to talk about some ratings. Wednesday's new edition of AEW Dynamite drew 889,000 viewers on TNT, which is down 29.4% because they were up just over 1.1 last week, I think. And a 0.33 rating in the demographic, also down 10.81%. To compare, NXT drew 744,000 viewers, which was down 11.5% from the previous week, and a 0.22 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic, which is down 0.4%. So both shows were down. AEW quite significantly, but Dynamite at the end of the day still drew more viewers and a bigger rating in the demographic. So
they won the non-Wednesday night wars.
If you're looking at it as a competition, I would say they won again. Speaking of ratings, Impact Wrestling's Rebellion that we watched and reviewed had 9 times as many pay-per-view buys as Bound for Glory. So that's great news for Impact Wrestling with their relationship with AEW. Seems to be well worth it for them, especially if they can retain any of those viewers, right? Because clearly more people are watching the pay-per-view, so you just need to hook them. I actually think this week's Impact was pretty good, but we'll get to that later on in the podcast. And what was it? Dave Meltzer reports that the weekend show was the 8th biggest pro wrestling pay-per-view since August of 2020. So I don't know how...
Which is 8 months.
Right. So it sounds great, and then you do the math, and you're like, I guess, but... so yeah, it's good.
There's probably more than 8 pay-per-views, because if you think WWE, there would probably just be 8 pay-per-views because they do it every month.
Yeah, but they're hammering out a bunch.
Right, but then you also factor in a couple of AEW shows, and then, so I guess there is more
some
than
takeovers.
8. So, I guess it's...
Yeah, it's good news for them. My question is, like, what do you think AEW is getting out of this? I don't know.
Out of what?
Their relationship with Impact.
Yeah, I honestly don't care about that relationship. I'm more interested in AEW and New Japan, if I'm being honest.
But I don't I'm trying to understand why AEW is doing it, because I don't, unless they're trying to show people, like, set the precedent, right? Like, look, we'll work with other companies because they have their eyes on something else. But
you could argue Impact has some good talent, but those talent have not been on AEW either.
And AEW's barely, other than Good Brothers, AEW's barely mentioning when I compare the hype between Impact and AEW for that match with Omega and Swan. Like, AEW, it was like an afterthought and barely mentioned.
Probably because they also do good storytelling over there. I guess. I think Impact hasn't heard of it.
It was the focus. But anyways, right. I just see it's an interesting relationship because I see Impact's getting a lot and I'm not quite sure what AEW's getting. But anyways, what do you have?
Okay, so I'm going to see how many I can string together for segues, right? Okay, so speaking of Impact Wrestling, they have signed Vladimir Kozlov as an international commentator.
Great. Yeah, I saw that somewhere in Europe, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And speaking of Impact Wrestling, again, former Impact World Champion Tessa Blanchard and husband Daga have been reportedly in talks with AEW for over a month and could be All Elite soon.
I don't even think I remembered she was married to Daga. I remember him in Lucha Underground at some point.
And Impact.
If she has grown and changed as a person, then let's go, because she's unbelievable. But she needed to do some work on herself, so hopefully she's done that work and she can come back.
And Daga competes in AAA, which is in Mexico.
Right.
So speaking of Mexico stuff,
Andrade
heading to Federación Wrestling.
Yep.
I think he's going to be on the show, or he's at least been teased. And he'll be headlining alongside Roosh, Bestial Del Ring, and a surprise partner to take on Matt Taven, PJ Black, and 2 more surprise partners. And elsewhere on the card, AEW's Lucha Bros, which is Penta, El Zero Miedo, and Rey Fenix.
Yep.
They're facing off with Dragon Lee and Bandito. That sounds fun.
That does sound really fun.
And Tay Conti will also be on the event as she's teaming with Ayako Hamada and an unannounced teammate to battle Red Velvet, Miranda Alice, I don't know, and Zeuxis. I'm not going to even bother pronouncing that one.
Sounds like a pretty cool show.
Yeah.
A lot of big names on there.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. keep going. Or are you done?
Yeah, I don't think I can string anything else to that.
Okay, I had WWE officials reportedly in talks with MLW officials. So something along the lines of the old Evolve deal, to a degree, like the old ECW from the 90s, where the idea is you send some of your people that aren't getting enough time, maybe developmental guys who aren't getting their NXT time probably, to send there to work some TV just to get experience and practice and whatever, some seasoning. So that's kind of interesting. I have no issue with that. If it means I get to see other people in other places, that's kind of interesting to me.
I don't know. I don't know if they would do that, or I guess it's not really like them really working with the promotion. It's like, here,
No.
take our fodder.
It's like, unless you really know and are into wrestling stuff, you just probably wouldn't even notice, right? But I think it's okay. It gets people more experience, is always a good thing.
I keep getting lumps in my booster juice. It's really annoying.
Yeah, sometimes they don't blend it super great.
Feels weird in my mouth.
I sometimes will get my straw plugged with some sort of seed.
I'm just gonna maybe let that sit. Hopefully, it gets rid of the lumps.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm glad the listeners learned about the texture of your booster juice this week, buddy. It's important.
Roman Reigns has finally got his own theme song now. He debuted a new one on SmackDown.
What was he using before? The Shield still?
A variation of the Shield
nice.
theme.
Good for him.
So, yeah, I listened to it. It's a theme song.
Is it generic-ish? Probably.
I don't know. Most of them are, but it actually does kind of work. I just don't know if I like it or not yet.
Right. The only other thing I have, NXT UK Takeover Dublin has officially been canceled. I'm kind of disappointed because any takeover I'll watch. Originally scheduled for April 26th in 2020.
I think it was even. Oh right, yeah. I was.
But COVID, pandemic. Then they rescheduled to October 25th. Then the pandemic, they forced to reschedule to June 20th, 2021, and now it's just been canceled altogether. So that's too bad. It's just a show I enjoy, and I
feel like they could have just done it in where they're filming. No, I don't understand why.
Yeah, maybe they determined somehow that's not worth it, or I don't know what's going on, but it's not happening anyways. Do you have anything else?
God damn it, stupid lumps. Sorry.
Is this something we're gonna have to hear about for the next? Okay,
special go back episode of SmackDown set for next week, which would be similar to the old school Raw they did a few years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
I don't really know why they were doing that.
Okay.
I don't know. It just seems like one of those weird like things to draw viewers or something. It's like
nostalgia, I guess.
SmackDown's not even as old, so it's like
it's pretty old. It's been around a long time.
But the ad for it involved like the old WWE logo, and it's like that SmackDown wasn't even around when that logo, because it debuted in the Attitude Era, right? So,
yeah,
I don't know.
It won't draw me in, but maybe somebody wants to see that. I guess.
I just would like to see if they actually change the set design. Ha! No, they won't.
No, probably not.
And finally, some backstage changes for WWE. Jason Jordan's now lead producer. He's been promoted.
Kurt Angle's son?
Yeah.
Nice.
Elsewhere, John Cone he's second in command to John Laurinaitis in talent relations. I don't know what the position's called, but
I don't either.
And yeah, so
that's
cool.
Everything. Yeah, so cool. That's all you've got for news, sir?
Yep.
Excellent. Well, then let's get into an in-depth review. The first one we do now, since they've changed the schedule on us. Let's talk a little bit about some NXT. All right, and that's me. So the show kicks off with a match from what they're calling the best women's division in the world, and I think that's pretty fair. I mean,
yeah.
Somebody who watches a more Japan things from Japan might disagree, but as far as what I see,
I don't really see anything that's even giving them a run for the money. I think Impact was,
not that we watch for sure.
I think AEW's catching up.
Yeah, Impact was really good when we started their knockouts division, but now it's sort of struggling for me anyways. But so I don't disagree. And in this case, it's Dakota Kai versus...
I don't necessarily agree, though.
It's, I think I do, but I don't
know.
I don't watch all the wrestling in the world,
exactly.
So how do I know?
Right, that's not why I'm not...
Of what I watch, it's the best.
That's all yeah.
And I watch a lot, so... it's Dakota Kai versus Mercedes Martinez, kind of like, I guess, as the gatekeeper to Gonzalez, maybe in this case it seems. We get holds and counters until Martinez slaps her way out of a head scissors. a botched move right in the middle of the ring with an awkward sort of jump and catch situation. I forget. It was a while ago. Dakota landed kind of badly. I don't remember what they were trying to go for.
I remember that, but I don't remember what it was.
It was just something awkward. There was a miss there for sure. We get a DDT by Kai to slow down Martinez. Running corner kick to seated Martinez for 2. Slaps by Martinez. Neckbreaker by Kai for a 2 count. Running boot by Kai is missed. She catches her leg in the rope, so Martinez obviously takes that opportunity to attack. We get what they called a cliffhanger DDT by Martinez as she picks Kai up off the top, sort of. I thought that looked pretty cool. A running boot.
I don't remember that.
No, because it's a long time ago now. Because it's back to Tuesday right now.
I don't.
We used to watch it on Fridays. Now we watch it on Tuesdays, so it's a little bit going back in my memory.
I feel like that would be like something along the lines of a draping DDT if I just had to guess.
I don't think it was.
Really?
Anyways, running boot by Kai connects. Martinez rolls to the floor heading into the commercial. Kai's rammed into the apron and rolled into the ring. Kicks and a lung blower to Martinez as she tries to get back in the ring. Big discus elbow by Martinez after a brief strike exchange. 3 linked double underhook suplexes by Martinez. I thought that was cool.
That was pretty sweet.
Martinez attacks the injured arm. Kai had been sort of selling it earlier, I think around the time of the botch. It's weird because the way she fell, I thought she hurt, I think, her left arm, but I think she was selling the right one. So since that botch sort of thing. Martinez Gonzalez get face-to-face outside very briefly. So Kai distracts the ref as Gonzalez goes to punch Martinez, but Martinez avoids it and punches Gonzalez instead. Martinez comes back in the ring. Kai picks her up on her shoulders as Gonzalez comes in and kicks Martinez to call for the disqualification. And Martinez is going to win the match by DQ. Gonzalez continues to destroy Martinez. At one point, she lawn darts her into sort of the plexiglass above the barricade. That looked really good, I thought. Kai comes over, hands Gonzalez her title as they stand over Mercedes Martinez. What did you think?
I thought the match was like decent. It was getting good, and I feel like the finish kind of stopped that. I feel like the finish was kind of lame.
Yeah.
So I didn't love the finish, but I mean, and this feud's really confusing to me. It's like I can't really tell who the definite heel is.
Right.
And because
Martinez is a heel, right?
Right, but then Raquel just pulled a big heel thing right there, right? Like
again, I think she was only babyface for that appearance with.
Right, like I don't, but it's just like even when her and Kai got the women's tag titles, they were acting kind of face. It's like I don't know. But I think this is fine way to start the show.
So I find myself watching to see if I see any hints of a break between Kai and Gonzalez because I don't want that to happen. So my fear here was that Dakota Kai is not going to appreciate that Gonzalez got her DQ'd and interfered in her match. I was looking for signs of like the I can handle it, you don't need to get involved. I didn't see that. So the match was good minus the one botch. I've seen Kai look better. I'm usually a bigger fan of her matches, but I still enjoyed this and thought it was a good opener. So I didn't see any signs of a split between Gonzalez and Kai, but I still fear that it's going to come. I think Martinez looks pretty much like a legit contender, and Gonzalez still looked like a beast, especially with that lawn dart into the cage. So it's setting up an interesting match. I mean, I don't think there's any chance Martinez is winning, but they're making her look strong along the way, I guess, although she did get taken out here pretty badly. Then we get Shotzi and Ember Moon are speaking to Mackenzie backstage.
Which is always what I look for when I'm watching NXT.
They defend their titles tonight and next week. I guess it's the Robert Stone brand this week and then the Way next week is the plan.
Oh, wow. Some difficult challenges for them.
Moon says they have lost their way, which I thought was a gross pun. And that they're not letting go of the titles. Flowers get delivered to them, and Frankie Monet shows up. So,
like it's presumed from, or wait, no.
My confusion is growing.
From Loomis.
The card says they are from Loomis. Moon and Shotzi try to sort of.
Confusing.
What?
It's confusing. Sorry.
Okay, they're trying to like offload the flowers onto each other because neither of them really want it, and then the segment just ends. So go ahead, talk about your
confusing and also, oh my god, so stupid. I don't care. This is dumb. It's involving Loomis, it's involving Shotzi Blackheart, it's involving this tag team, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I was a little confused as well. I was wondering...
We'll talk more about it later.
What happened? It felt like a few things got smashed together here with no explanation. Ember continues to sound really awkward when she speaks.
Always.
And I assume the Way sent these flowers, right? Like, it's kind of the way it looks is to sort of mess with them. But I honestly...
Nice.
I honestly don't care enough to put a ton of thought into it, were my notes at the time, right? Like, I guess this is what they're doing, but
It's just,
is it effective?
I very don't like it.
So, like, if you think about it, are they sending the flowers to make Indy jealous at the wrong people to motivate her? I guess.
I don't know.
Is that what it is? Because Indy's interested in Loomis.
So it's like,
so they're pretending Loomis is sending.
I guess we'll talk about it now, because it's like, it's what they did with Theory and Loomis, but now instead of therapy, they're pretending Loomis is cheating.
But is the end goal to motivate Indy?
I guess,
to hate them more before their tag team.
Right,
match.
Yeah, that's what they did with Theory and Loomis. I think it's the same thing here.
So I think we worked it out. But anyways, we'll get there. We then get to Cameron Grimes, who we love. He's in a jewelry store this week, and he's got a blazer on with no shirt in a jewelry store, which I thought was quite amusing. He speaks a little bit, but basically he's there to get the blingiest watch in the city. The salesperson says he has one, and it's to be continued.
I noticed there was someone in the back holding a newspaper or something.
I did not in the first segment, actually. So what'd you think of this?
It was fine. It's Grimes. It was fine. It's not like there wasn't like, because it's half the segment.
Yeah.
So there wasn't really like that much comedy. It's like, haha, rich man won't watch.
I didn't really like it. I didn't think it had much, and if it's building to something, that's great, but it in itself, I was not entertained by this, and I usually love Grimes. We'll come back to it. I think they were trying a bit too hard here for me, but anyways, right. I was not a big fan of this. I thought it was kind of, I don't know, just didn't entertain me at all, and Grimes is usually one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think it's if they had done the whole segment, then you'd get like the funny bit at the end, or like wherever he's usually funny.
Maybe. You're assuming I like the second half of this, I guess.
No, but I mean, like...
We'll see.
No, I know you don't.
It seems that way, right? Grizzled young veterans are in the ring to speak. They basically insult MSK, accuse them of ducking the grizzled young veterans. They want a title shot in a regular match. Thatcher and Ciampa interrupt. Ciampa says that he and Thatcher...
I wrote MSK promo, even though it's not.
Not really, no. Ciampa says that he and Thatcher are grizzled and veterans. Thatcher brings us back to the take your shoe off if you hate Gibson, which is a thing in the... I forget how it started. I think like a woman started doing it in UK. Like she took her shoe off and was shaking it at Gibson, and it became a thing. So even in his UK matches, as like there would be a ton of people
I remember that when
shaking their shoes at him.
In the UK tag title match where they won the titles.
Yeah, I kind of like it. It's funny. So if they catches on in North America, I'm okay with it. So they're basically, he uses his shoe as a weapon to kick off a brawl between the two teams. What did you think?
I don't know. I like both of these teams, so...
Yeah, I like the teams.
I'm looking forward to
that. The match will be cool.
There's a match.
Yeah, because you kind of have a babyface team there, I guess.
Right, I think either team versus MSK would be nice.
I thought Ciampa's lines were lame, like what he said was lame. I thought Thatcher's delivery wasn't super good. They've been very entertaining in their recorded segments recently, but I didn't think this was great. But I am also interested in this match. So, and it's nice that there's a bit of a tag team division, right? Which has been lacking.
Which is nice, because WWE don't do that.
Nope, but it looks like there's sort of one happening in NXT. I'm excited. Speaking of tag teams, Killian Dane and Drake Maverick speak to Mackenzie. They have a tag team match against Imperium, and Drake Maverick at this point is very suspicious. He says that Dane is either going to turn and join Imperium or just ditch him and leave him basically in a handicap match, because he's kind of like, I know how wrestling works. I see this coming, right? So he's quite nervous that Dane is going to abandon him in this match. Dane sort of stops him and tells him that he has to have faith, and then there's some sort of joke about George Michael in there, I think, right?
Right.
Any thoughts on this? I didn't really have much.
I didn't love it. It was fine.
Yeah, I get Maverick being suspicious, right? Because there seems to be Imperium
it's
trying to...
It's kind of weird when it's like, yeah, I know the wrestling trope. And
right.
It's like...
Yeah, that is a little bit inside, right? Like, this is what always happens in wrestling, and you're going to do that to me, sort of thing. We then get a strange kind of Xia Li vignette where she's speaking, and Boa and Tian Shaw's faces are there, and then there's a Tian Shaw graphic as we go to commercial.
I don't know why Boa hasn't competed yet.
And none of it was in English, right? So it was just a really quick thing before their logo flashes, and then that was it.
Yeah.
So I don't have much to say. It looks cool, but I don't know where they're going with it.
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't speak that language.
Fair. Swerve is back in the studio, which I think is a cool backdrop for his promos and stuff. I think they found a nice little like regular
Because
location.
he does do a podcast or whatever.
And it's unique to him. I think it's more about he's like a musician, right? Like he's making
No, but
music.
I also know he has the he has a podcast.
So he's still talking about Leon Ruff, unfortunately. He says at first he thought Ruff was a coward, but he thought about it. He's proud of Leon for having it in him to sort of be this competitive. The ring clearly can't contain them.
And then I instantly knew what was next.
So he proposes a Falls Count Anywhere match. He gets serious for a minute at the end and says that he's playing with Ruff's life at this time. What did you think?
I thought the promo was good enough, but I don't know why this feud is still here.
That's kind of how I feel. I thought this was really cool, and again, I think this studio is a nice, unique backdrop for him to cut cool promos. The character, I mean, I think it's one of my favorites right now on the show, actually. I really like the Swerve character.
Yeah.
He just needs, as you're saying, decisively win this match and move on from Leon Ruff. Mm-hmm. Win this match, go on to something bigger, I think, would be what I would like.
That would be ideal.
We then get a Toni Storm match with Zana Ramir is her name?
Zeta Ramir.
Zeta? Sorry, it must have auto-corrected me. Zeta Ramir, thank you. And Zoe should be thanking her for getting her known. Toni cuts a bit of a promo here before the match.
I don't know why Toni is still here, but she is.
Regarding the match where she lost to Zoe, she said it will only be a footnote in Toni's great career, and every time she slaps this rookie she's facing, she'll think of Zoe Stark. So the match.
What great career.
The match starts. Storm starts out really aggressively, hits a big boot before throwing Ramir around the ring, sliding clothesline into the rope by Storm, backbreaker by Storm, small flurry by Ramir, stopped by a German suplex from Storm, running uppercut, running hip attack, Storm Zero setup. She drops her and then places Ramir up top to attempt some sort of larger move, I guess, because she could have hit her finisher and then is like, no, I'm gonna punish this rookie because she's symbolic of Zoe Stark, I guess. Decides to go up top for something bigger to an almost unconscious opponent at this point, and then Stark comes down because she just, I guess, can't stand for this sort of abuse of a inexperienced wrestler. Distracts distracts Toni Storm. Ramir fights back, hits a shooting star press. What? For the win. What?
Yeah.
So talk about it.
I honestly don't know how we got a Stark Storm feud from a goddamn pre-show match. And also, why is Storm back on TV? I need her to get away. I thought I was done with this nightmare. But apparently not. I thought this match was a squash match. Until the shooting star press, which I guess was cool, but
surprised me. A squash match where the person getting squashed won. So that's kind of interesting me right away.
Right. I just like that Toni Storm lost, so I'm happy.
Storm's pre-match promo wasn't great. I think she is the rare case for me where she's worse as a heel. I think almost everybody's more interesting as a heel. I don't think. Well,
she's not interesting at all, but she's worse right now.
I think she's more interesting as a babyface.
I don't think she's interesting at all.
You're in Shotzi mode with her, where you're just done with her.
She's been too bad for too long. I don't
think she's been bad's a strong word. She hasn't lived up to the hype. I definitely say that.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say she's been overrated for too long, and I'm done with it.
That's fair. That's what I mean. You're done with her like you are with Shotzi.
Yeah. Well, Shotzi was never good.
The offense for her, I guess, looked good here. Ramir looked really green. I didn't think she looked really good. And at one point, Barrett had to try to cover for her because she kind of just did nothing. She kind of stood there for a second when she was supposed to be doing something.
And the last person you want to cover for you is Wade Barrett, as we know. He's got terrible motive for supporting people for no reason.
The shooting star looked pretty cool, but that's really all she did. The rest she did not look great to me. But so yeah, it keeps Zoe Stark in a feud. I fear that Toni's going to get her win back, obviously, right? And then maybe it goes on for even more, but we'll see.
Yeah, that would be not ideal because, as I said, Toni Storm, no.
Okay. Escobar and Legado are after MSK, and they say that MSK got lucky last week. And in the main event tonight, they will make a statement, and they will win the tag titles, and Escobar will win his Cruiserweight Championship back. What did you think?
I don't want Escobar to do that, with all due respect. Don't do that.
Yeah, we're ready for him to move on. Move up.
But it's like, then why did he lose the title if he's not moving on? I would rather him have the title if he's in this division.
Yeah.
But good, I guess.
I thought this looked cool and felt cool. Wild and Mendoza just need to start picking up some wins, right? Because you can only do this. We're the best and we're so tough and
even if they do pick up wins, though, it's like, I don't know, they're just not top tier.
I think they're still salvageable. I don't think they're ever going to be like champions singles competitors, but they could definitely have a tag run. And did you think Mendoza's voice was significantly deeper?
I don't remember it exactly, but now that you mention it, yes, I do
Right?
remember that.
I thought so, like to the point where is he using, although who knows, it's not like we've heard him talk a lot, but I felt like it sounded different to me.
No, I seem to remember that as well.
But anyways,
if I'm being honest.
Bronson Reed is on his way to the ring, passes Gargano and Candice LeRae, who stare at him as Theory pops up to ask why Johnny and Candice are standing around in the dark. I don't know why that happened, or I have nothing to say about it.
Yeah, it was a thing.
Yep, it was. It's again the way being sprinkled throughout a show for us, right? Which is our favorite thing. LA Knight speaks. Everybody was talking about him beating Loomis last week. Indy was there. LA Knight speaks to her, implies that she should want LA Knight and not Dexter Loomis. She should give him a chance after Loomis disappoints her. Knight leaves. Everrise come in and ask if they have any questions about their YouTube show. She says no. Thoughts?
LA Knight is the same thing. Well, I guess this one's a little different, I guess, but it's like still, I'm the alpha male, I'm the best, and
yeah, I'm not a huge fan.
Know.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I like them better in Impact Wrestling, I think.
Yeah.
Cause I remember him actually being pretty entertaining in Impact when remember he was like with Trevor Lee and
I kind of
Caleb
enjoyed him.
Conley.
Yep.
But I don't know, just nothing interesting here.
Yeah, I didn't think any of it was great. I'm glad to see Everrise get a chance to start showcasing their personalities. They're actually really entertaining, funny guys. I have seen some of their YouTube stuff before. LA Knight, I don't know.
You watch YouTube.
There's just something I don't love about LA Knight. This promo I didn't love, like him being the slimy, the girls should be attracted to him, didn't thrill me. I don't know. I just would prefer
he goes way older than Indy.
He could hit SmackDown or Raw anytime for me and just leave my show alone.
And I would say the same for Karrion Kross, Tony Storm, and Shotzi Blackheart. And even take Ember Moon back. I don't care.
We then get Austin Theory versus Bronson Reed in a match. And if Reed wins this, he gets another shot.
I feel like this, if this is like a TakeOver match, I feel like this would be, like, I would be good with this on TakeOver. Because I feel like a TV match, it can be good, but I feel like if, like, it's just like the potential's always higher.
Oh, for sure. You get more time right away, which is a big deal.
Like, it doesn't get broken up. I just feel like it's just like, I don't know, better.
Yeah. So if Reed wins, as I was saying, he gets another shot at the North American title against Johnny Gargano. Indy is with them, but she is clearly sulking and is sort of reluctant to take part in the Ways pre-match, whatever you want to call it, routine, I guess would be a good word. We get a short.
Remember the Michael Scott Paper Company one?
What? Oh yeah, it's like because he was doing it like the Walmart does their cheer and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shoulder tackle. Theory goes to the floor. Shoulder tackle attempted by Reed, but Theory just bounces off. Theory gets hung upside down near the floor, so hanging sort of off the apron. Reed runs by with a tackle that I thought was kind of a unique spot. Gargano distracts Reed momentarily. Theory hits a big backdrop as Reed climbs back into the ring. Reed runs at Theory but gets low-bridged and falls to the floor. Super kick by Gargano as Theory distracts the ref. Theory flies off the top onto Reed onto the floor. Again, a lengthy distraction for the ref here. Reed runs into the steps as we head into commercial. Then Theory misses an elbow drop. Reed hits a press slam, elbows, and he just runs Theory over. I don't know what to call that. You know when he just runs them over with
like
his...
I guess a body tackle, like where
I guess that makes it's more than just a shoulder. Yes,
like that. You kind of like I know what you're talking about. Yeah, body tackle, I guess.
Corner splash choke slam by Bronson Reed, followed by a senton for 2. Drop toe hold into the corner by Theory and a blockbuster for 2. Samoan drop by Reed, and Theory just couldn't pick him up when he tries to. Super kick by Theory, but his suplex is reversed. Both men are down. Loomis wanders out onto the ramp. Johnny pulls Candice away as Loomis approaches.
Indy, you know he's not after Candice though.
So no, but he's approaching Indy, but now Indy's walking away, which I'm not quite sure I understand.
Because she's mad because the flowers earlier.
Oh, okay, that's right. We're going back to that. Good, thank you. That makes sense, I guess. If she thinks he sent them flowers.
Right, which is the point of, I guess.
And she's playing basically a child, right, in this, so she's not too clever about things. She wouldn't figure it out, I guess.
Well, kind of like Theory, right?
Right. The guys are kind of doing nothing in the ring, which is annoying as we're focused on Indy.
You know what that reminds me of, actually, is in Hell in a Cell 2018, when Roman Reigns was defending the Universal title against Braun Strowman, and so I think that's when Strowman was affiliated with Ziggler and McIntyre as the Dogs of War.
Yes.
And so they were brawling, like the Rollins and Ambrose and McIntyre and Ziggler, and so Rollins and Ziggler were on the side of the cell, and they did like do you remember the spot that Ambrose and Rollins did in 2014 where they both fell off the side?
Yes.
Through the announce table. So they did that, and you could see like Strowman and Reigns. So
standing there?
I think they had just gone through a table, so they're
Yeah.
just like lying there.
Yep.
The whole time.
So
they're like not the focus, right?
Right,
So which is always kind of weird.
That's what was happening here.
Right.
Indy walks in. Loomis gets up on the apron. Theory knocks Loomis off the apron by accident. Reed hits a forearm and his tsunami splash for the win. Thoughts, my son?
I'm just gonna. I made a note that Theory selling is like a bit much sometimes,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I thought it wasn't the greatest match ever, but it was good. Reed isn't the strongest in the ring, but I don't think he's bad anymore. And if he's working with someone good like Theory or Gargano, he can have a good match. And I enjoyed his and Gargano's match at Takeover, so I'm fine with the rematch.
Good. I thought that.
Sorry, I would also like to say the Dexter Loomis thing is dumb, and I don't care.
Yeah. I thought the match was good enough. Both of these guys are kind of growing on me as talents. They did a good job here.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think this is going to get the belt off of Johnny? And then like
I don't
what
know
he
if
has
I
to
want
feud
it
with
on Bronson Reed though.
But it seems like, is Johnny going to Loomis? Where's that going, right? Like,
I don't know. It's really weird.
I honestly forget that he's the North American champion.
I want the
sometimes.
title off him, but I don't think it should be Reed. Even though I don't hate him anymore,
Well, let him
I don't
be your
think
transitional onto somebody you do want it on. But I think it needs.
Escobar.
Can't believe I'm saying it, but I think it needs to get off of Johnny Gargano because I just kind of.
I never would have said that like a year ago.
But he's in such a prolonged like comedy thing
that's just no place for a mid card title.
I don't like it on him.
Especially when it's not even like the focus or it's like not prominent at all. Like.
Nope. So I don't know where they're going with it, but I think they should get that. Can't believe again I'm saying that, but get the belt off of Johnny Gargano. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have ever
say.
thought I would say that.
Nope.
But here we are.
MSK and Kushida are teaming up tonight, and they are excited, so they're talking about it. MSK appreciate Kushida's help in making them feel welcome at NXT. Kushida says they'll show that they are champions tonight, and they are MS Kushida, I guess, is the clever name. Haha.
Yeah.
I didn't think this was great.
I did not like it. There's just something about MSK's promos I find weird. They're just like
it's not their
almost
strength
cringy.
For sure. Yes.
Sometimes I just don't love it, and Kushida's really felt weird too.
I just want these guys in the ring.
His English was really awkward. Almost like Io Shirai last week for me.
Yeah. I would just want them in the match. They don't need to be doing a ton of live talking for me. Put them in recorded stuff maybe. I don't know, but just let them wrestle. Less talking, more wrestling. The Way are back in the hallway backstage. Gargano is mad. Wants to know what happened. Gargano blames Loomis and Candice blames Shotzi and Ember for trying to steal her man, of course, so it's working. Johnny, it's weird because this time all of a sudden he's not that upset to face Bronson Reed now when that seemed to be his big fear, right? That he was not happy with Theory for making the match and how did this match get made, but now he's not even thinking about it. So yes, they clearly set up Indy to motivate her for the tag match next week, I guess.
And to get rid of Loomis.
I guess. I'm not sure I care. This group keeps getting more time than almost anyone, and
I definitely don't care.
I'm not quite getting why. I like most of these guys individually, but this group is just it's not entertaining for me. I don't know. It's just, maybe it's just us again. Like people might love The Way, I guess. Not me.
But those are probably the same people who like Shotzi Blackheart or Toni Storm or main roster.
Because they must be getting decent feedback. There's no way they're giving them like 3-4 segments for weeks. Even if they're tiny, some of them, right? But that's a lot of TV time. So somebody must think that it's good, I guess.
Especially when there's some people who I think should be getting TV time.
Right.
So, I don't know. Like, I didn't like it that much. And it's just so obvious after this segment, especially like that, like what they're doing.
It's getting tough because it's like 3-4 times a week that we have to go, I don't really enjoy it, right?
Well,
like,
and this is like...
Again, I still don't like it.
This isn't even clever. It's the same thing they did. It's just a slight variation.
Yes. Yep.
Like, honestly.
And again, good performers, just not given stuff that interests me.
Right.
Imperium versus Drake and Dane happens next. Drake is still suspicious about what Dane's going to do in this match, perhaps leave him or turn on him. Dane and Eichner start the match. We get a divide by Dane to finally give someone an advantage after it's a stalemate for a bit at the beginning. Bartel's in and Dane clotheslines him to the floor. Dane tags Drake in and hip tosses him onto Bartel. Hurricane Rana by Drake, but he gets pulled off the top and dragged to the heel corner. Double team boot to Drake as the ref is distracted. Maverick then plays the face in peril for quite a while here. That's my summary of a decent few minutes of this match because they're just beating on Drake. We get some offense from Eichner, kickouts from Drake. Dane's pulled off the apron, but Drake doesn't see it. We get a big kick by Eichner from behind to Drake.
Do not be Beth Phoenix.
Dane comes into the ring and takes out Imperium. Dane follows Bartel outside, but runs into a big boot. Bartel tells Wolf to hit Dane with a chair, but Wolf hesitates, and Maverick jumps from the top onto them. So Dane is run into the steps. Drake gets caught by Eichner and muscled up into a powerbomb uppercut combo.
Which I thought was awesome transition by Eichner.
Is super fun to watch.
Not Eichner, Beth Phoenix.
And Imperium pick up the win here. What did you think?
I thought the match was fine. Like, it was good TV fodder, kind of.
Yeah.
I'm really confused with Wolf's hesitation. I don't know if this means a face turn for him, but that really would not make sense. I think they did a really good job of rebranding him, like, complete overhaul after Sanity disbanded.
Yeah.
And I think he really does fit well in Imperium. I think it works. And maybe it's because he and Dane are former stablemates, but one, that was like a while ago, and two, isn't he now in a new faction? So like,
and they didn't draw any attention to that, so it's kind of interesting.
Well, like when Wolf was kind of like saying Dane needs to be a monster, I guess they're kind of
referring
to that. But like, I don't know, it's just been so long ago, and they're both different now, so I don't know. Like, and Wolf's in a new faction, arguably a better faction,
right?
Just because Walter's in it.
Yeah, so I guess they're introducing a little bit of a story here, which is
but
fine.
I don't.
We'll see where it goes.
Like it.
I didn't love the match. I thought there was way too much time setting up a hot tag, and then the hot tag was kind of underwhelming. And then, yeah, I'm curious about Wolf's issue. I think Eichner's a beast, man. But I really didn't care for this match for some reason.
He'd be cool. I wonder if he still qualifies for the Cruiserweight division.
That's where he was, yeah. But
Classic?
I remember his story being that he had to drop like 25 pounds or something to get in. Because he's a big dude.
I remember, wasn't that Murphy also was close to it? He wasn't in the tournament, but he was in the...
And Trent Seven just did it in the UK.
Right, and but Murphy was in the tournament when Enzo had to vacate the title, or was stripped of the title, actually.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know, if Eichner could drop down, then I would love him in
He's super fun, though. He's just such a weird combination of mega strength and, like...
Remember, he can just, like, jump to the rope, top rope.
He's pretty cool to watch. So Pete Dunne speaks next. He says everybody talks about opportunities, but no one mentions him. He has the locker room shook and is the toughest matchup there is. He beat Kushida. Maybe he'll go back and win the UK title. He then calls specifically out Gargano and Cross and says he's the baddest man in NXT and he dares anyone to prove him wrong.
I like this because it was basically him giving a valid reason that he could take any of the singles titles.
So I also enjoyed this. I continue to enjoy Pete Dunne promos, which is another thing I wasn't sure I would say.
Right, like,
what a bonus, right? Like, I love him, but promos have always been, I thought, his not strength. But
even when he was the cool bruiserweight.
Yeah,
like,
he's just really believable. I don't want to see him face Cross unless he's winning, because...
I don't really want him in the Cruiserweight division because I feel like that's below him.
Does he qualify? He
said
big,
because he beat... No, I'm pretty sure he does qualify because in 2K19 at least they classify him as cruiserweight.
Yeah,
so,
he could be.
And I just don't. I feel like that's below him. So I think the mid card is exactly where it needs to be. I think.
So Bronson Reed is your
because Escobar, he's stuck.
Yeah,
not like
seems like it in
so,
cruiserweight land.
Right, so I think Dunn is maybe the way to go.
Yeah, I thought this was good. He's just believable as a no-nonsense tough guy,
even though he's not American in any sense of the word.
Doesn't matter.
I know. It's just
back to Grimes buying his watch. He likes the watch he's trying on and decides to wear it out of the store. And Ted DiBiase is there, mocks Grimes' watch in comparison to his own. And your thoughts?
I don't know. I didn't love it. But I always do kind of get a kick from him. He's like, damn you, DiBiase.
I love the inclusion of DiBiase. I thought this was just a super lame, lazy setup.
Yeah,
for him.
It wasn't the best setup. I also don't mind the inclusion, just not like the segment itself. And I do like the line. And at least DiBiase's actually involved.
I like that he got involved, but I thought this was bad. I think there's like a million better ways to get to this payoff of DiBiase being there. Right. I don't know. It was very underwhelming for me because I love Grimes.
I don't know how else you would do it, but there's a better way.
Give me half an hour, I'll come up with 5 probably. Anyways,
all right.
Shotzi and Ember Moon versus the Robert Stone brand.
Woohoo!
And it's more gifts for Shotzi and Ember are brought out from a staffer.
And chocolat.
Yes. And they go to get them, and then they're attacked from behind by LeRae and Hartwell, and they hit them with fruit baskets and cupcakes as their opponents wait in the ring to start to celebrate like they won the belts, and the segment is over.
Dumb. And I wrote, Shotzi gets hit with glass. Woo!
Can you explain to me how the Robert Stone brand think they won?
'Cause maybe they won by...
Count out, which the titles don't change hands. DQ, the titles don't change hands.
It's like
So I
was gonna try to say like one of those things like you win by default, but that would be like say they're defending and then the challengers just like don't show up, they would win by default. But then like then they're the challengers, so they wouldn't win the titles.
So if their gimmick was they're just really stupid, but that's never been set up for us, right? Like
maybe it's like they're just trying to like pass it off as that, like I don't know.
So
I'm just happy Shotzi got hit with glass.
We didn't get a match that I really wasn't interested anyways at the end of the day, but I was confused by some of, I guess the getting hit with the fruit baskets and stuff was kind of funny, I guess, but
I would say her getting hit with glass is more funny.
Right. Adam Cole's on the phone with an interviewer waiting to speak with him. He's asked about his recovery from the match. Cole then lists his accomplishments, says he's better than the roster whether he's healthy or not. He decided not to carry the Undisputed anymore. He didn't make a mistake. It was a choice. The others lost sight of what Era was about, and they turned their backs on him. Kyle is not ready for the main event spot, despite people telling him he is. He knows Kyle isn't sure either. Time will tell, but Kyle will never take Cole's spot. He's then asked about the NXT title picture, says Cross is good, but doesn't know if he's great. Cross hasn't had to deal with him yet, and when he decides to, the clock is ticking on Cross. He's mad at people thinking Kyle is replacing him, and we will see the best Cole anyone has ever seen. He's then a jerk to the sort of interviewer at the end of it, and we learn that Kyle is in a room somewhere watching on TV. Thoughts?
And he's breaking the rules.
Right,
he's sitting on a chair in front of the monitor when you're supposed to stand beside it and look from there. So that's
you're supposed to stand right close to it at an awkward angle.
Right, and you're supposed to be standing, right?
Yeah.
You cannot be sitting in a chair.
But that's why he's in developmental, right? It's the last piece of the puzzle.
And you can't be sitting in a room either. You have to be standing in like like the curtain area and like with the little monitor.
So on his little NXT report card, it's gonna have like in-ring, check. Promos now, I think, check. Right? Like character work, check.
Backstage monitor viewing?
Watching TV? No.
No.
So that's why
you're getting held back another year, buddy.
He will not get to the main roster until he learns how to properly...
Overall, great job from Cole. I liked it. I like how he was like waiting for the interview to start, but the interview was actually waiting for him. And
right.
He's
so good at being a jerk, man. He's so believable.
And it's just something about he just looks like that guy too.
Yep.
Like
I thought this was really cool.
I really loved it. I love his promos. He has good heel logic. And if O'Reilly's watching, not the right way, but regardless, he was watching. Yep. I'm assuming we're getting another match, and I would love like a trilogy.
I'd watch them
I would
again.
like a standard wrestling match between them
yeah,
now.
Me too.
I feel like that.
I don't think it needs anything.
That would be awesome.
Cool segment. Cole's super comfortable, believable promo. He addressed a lot of stuff and talked for a while, but I was interested the whole time, so I thought this was a
I think
nice
the
segment.
setting too was kind of cool.
And he's just such a little bit more subtle of a jerk right now to start. Like I'm sure he'll crank it up, but he's super believable in what he does.
Yeah, he's really good.
A good segment.
I love him.
We then get the main event, which is MS
Kushida.
My bad. Versus Legado del Fantasma.
And Kushida's back to boots.
Yes,
which
he
is nice.
From barefoot.
Right, which I don't know why he did it for that 1 week then.
Switching it up.
And we got some weird entrance masks for Wild and Mendoza. They're kind of like, so it's like the front is like a big black ab. It's got like teeth around it. It did look kind of cool, but it's like weird-ish.
Yeah.
And they got like eyes on like these little flaps on the top, I guess. And Escobar just was wearing like the El Hijo del Fantasma
which looks
mask.
pretty cool, I think.
Mm-hmm. And they have their lesser theme song now.
Yep. So Wild pulls Kushida's hair and dances, so Kushida attacks him, going after his arm and tags out to MSK, who hits slingshot moves to Wild. I'm not going to lie, I struggle taking notes for MSK because they do a lot of stuff really quickly.
Yeah.
Wes Lee is the victim of nice double teaming combination.
I feel like this would be your match where you would just like want to wait and then like just grab
borrow notes from somewhere else.
Right.
I tried, but I do things like this. Nice double teaming combination from Wild and Mendoza, not too specific. Huge drop kick by Lee. He tags in Carter. MSK and Kushida go nuts and send the heels retreating to the floor as we go to a commercial. Back from commercial, Escobar has Carter in an arm submission. Mendoza continues to attack Carter's arm, and so does Wild once he gets tagged in again. Carter, like Drake earlier on in this show, is the face in peril for a very long time here. Suplex by Wild and back to the heel corner for more arm work from Escobar. Kushida hot tag finally. Palm strikes for all three. Moonsault shove, whatever that's called, by MSK for
like
two.
where like he moonsaults and like
shoves his own partner onto it.
I like at least in MSK, like both of them tend to be faces in peril in the match because like I find like some tag teams it's like one person is always going to be the face in peril, right? And
yes.
like, but I feel like another team where I would say that about is not anymore, but like the Young Bucks, like
yes,
they would both be face in peril. Matt Jackson would usually do like a double clothesline and a million Northern Light suplexes, and Nick Jackson would do that strike combo that I would never get bored of. And like I feel like MSK both have their hot tag footage, which I like because like I mean sure they're both doing it every match, but at least they're both doing it. It's not like, oh, here we go, Drake Maverick's the babyface in peril again.
A podcast I love, the Attitude Era, they would talk about, I'm pretty sure it was the New Age Outlaws, and that it's always, I think it was always Road Dogg getting beaten down, and always bit like it got to be a formula basically, like
and I was watching that big cast interview with Chris Van Vliet, and he was saying like they kind of if you think of it, Enzo and Cass are kind of like the New Age Outlaws. Their entrance, right? Enzo's clearly Road Dogg, and Enzo was always the face in peril.
Yep.
Right. So yeah.
These guys switch it up. It's nice.
Right. Yeah.
Suicide Dives by
really
MSK.
Went off on a tangent there.
As Kushida lifts the ropes. That's fine. That's what we're here for. Escobar power bombs Kushida on the announce table. Carter takes a running kick to the head and is on the steps, leaving Lee, the last babyface, standing in the ring. Lee fights hard but takes a drop kick mid handspring. Running corner clothesline by each of the Legado members as officials check on the other two babyfaces.
Usually I wouldn't like that. Sorry, but they were at least pretty intense and they were hitting it hard. So
yeah, that's true.
At least it looked good.
Yep. Running double knees by Escobar to Lee, followed by a brainbuster and a slingshot splash for a 2 count. Lee clears the ring, avoids a splash from Escobar, kicks to the heels, and Carter's back on the apron. Lee makes the tag. Carter lands kicks before taking one. Kushida walks into a phantom driver as Carter takes the Legado tandem finisher, and they win, and they sort of finish the match holding all the gold high as the show closes. So they grab the tag belts, though they don't belong to them, and hold them up to end the show. What did you think?
I actually quite liked it. It was pretty good. Thought it was well worked. And there were some cool moments. I thought Escobar's powerbomb, it looked actually effective because we do say that they like cushion it and like, but he at least put him through it with force.
Yep, it looked good.
So I thought, after that, I thought Legado were gonna win, and then Wesley started like kind of turning the match around. I was like, oh, I guess not, because I figured at the beginning that the faces would win, but then Legado still ended up winning anyway. So they actually did kind of have me guessing there, which I think is a good sign. So I actually quite like this. I think Escobar needs to get out of the cruiserweight division though, and move up to at least the mid card. But I actually quite liked it.
Yeah, I thought this match really picked up in the second half and became a lot of fun to watch. I also made a note the powerbomb on the table looked great.
Right, and I just like that. I thought the baby faces were gonna, and then I thought Legado were gonna win, but then I thought the faces were gonna win again, and then like they didn't. And
it adds so much when you're not sure who wins, right? Legado got a strong win, which I was saying earlier in this show, right? That's what they need to start doing, especially the tag team version of this group. It's a way to have MSK lose without involving the titles, right? Which is something that needed to happen eventually, I guess. Legado looked a bit weak last week, right? I didn't like, especially Escobar at the end, sort of retreating and taking that. So I'm happy to see this result. Solid main event. Very exciting final few minutes, I thought. Overall thoughts on this?
I thought overall the show was fine, like decent. I feel like there was nothing super great other than I really liked the main event. Nothing like overly terrible. I think there's stuff that was pretty bad, but not like downright terrible.
Right.
I think this is your definite average show in my opinion. Some bad and some good, like the main event. So I would give it a B, just like really in the middle in my opinion.
That's pretty fair. I thought in ring, the opener, the main event, and the Reed Theory match were pretty good. The Storm squash loss, the Dane Maverick Imperium match didn't do much for me. Grimes segments were disappointing. Cole interview was good. All the way stuff, I don't even know if I say it's good or bad. It just misses me is the best way to say it. And it still has too big a presence on the show for me. It wasn't a chore to watch, but I don't think it was a great show either. So I thought it was slightly below average from last week. And I actually gave it a B-, which isn't bad, but it's not. I thought it was slightly below average.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's move into our weekly trivia section next, which is Off the Top of His Head. We're going to take a look at, we've got, what did we say, 3 weeks until Backlash, or 3 episodes of our show until Backlash. So I'm going to start with some Backlash trivia. So I went back to 2001, 2002, 2003 for now, just looking at the match cards to see what you know. Because remember, these are the things you seem to remember well that I would have no idea. So these are the ones that impress me because I couldn't tell you any matches on anything probably. So it's not all of the matches from each one, but a good chunk of them, ranging from probably easy for you to like super hard, a couple of them. Okay, you ready? So Backlash 2001, this is one I think is like impossible. There was a 6-man tag team match. That's all I can tell you. Good luck.
New Age Outlaws?
Sorry?
New Age Outlaws?
No.
Rikishi and Too Cool?
No. I think of family members. 3 family members. Family members, I'm doing air quotes. One of the biggest tag teams of that era. And their little brother.
Oh, the Dudleys?
Yeah, versus
The
Aldo
Team
Montoya.
Extreme. Oh, X Factor.
Yeah, who is?
Just Incredible, Albert, X-Pac, or...
No, that's right.
Or Aldo Montoya, Tensai, and 1, 2, 3 Kid.
That's right. They're alternate.
Or 6.
Yes. There was a hardcore title match.
Crash Holly.
Nope.
Hardcore Holly.
No.
Tommy Dreamer.
No.
Rob Van Dam.
It is ECW person.
Sabu.
Actually, 2 ECW people.
Raven.
Yes.
Stevie Richards.
No. Bigger.
Rhino.
Yes. Raven versus Rhino.
Did it involve a shopping cart?
Last man standing match between a wrestler and a non-wrestler.
Chris Jericho.
Executive. No.
Kane.
No. A big man wrestler.
Big Show.
Yes. Versus non-wrestler.
Shane McMahon.
Yes, correct.
Actually?
Yep.
Oh, that's
30-minute ultimate submission match.
Chris Benoit.
Versus?
Kurt Angle.
Correct. See, these are the ones I know, like, when they're specialty matches and they were awesome.
I knew they faced off at WrestleMania X7, which is the same year.
Duchess of Queensberry rules match.
Chris Jericho and William Regal.
Yes, very good. That's funny. Triple threat match for the European title. At that time. Canadian and 2 others.
Christian?
Yes. 1 dead. Who is amazing.
Eddie Guerrero.
Correct. And 1 that's in AEW.
Chris Jericho. No way, I already said that.
Any guesses? He has a brother still in WWE. Who you like that paints his face?
Oh, Matt Hardy.
Yes.
Yeah, I just like his face paint.
I feel like
fine.
Strong that you'll know this one. Winner takes all.
Yep.
Tag team match for the WWF Intercontinental and tag team titles.
Brother of Destruction, Kane Undertaker, who are the tag champs.
Yes.
Versus 2-man power trip, which is Intercontinental Champion Triple H and WWE Champion Steve Austin.
See, I don't even remember that match existing, and you remember who was in it.
I remember because
I suck.
2-man power trip, and then also I played it in showcase mode, I think.
Yeah.
And it was in that 100 Greatest Matches book. I remember just the picture of like Austin and Triple H with all the titles.
Nice. All right, Backlash 2002. Do you know who was in the women's championship match?
Jazz.
And?
Victoria.
Nope, Canadian.
Trish Stratus.
Correct. You got Jazz right away. That's impressive. Intercontinental championship match.
Kane.
No.
Triple H. Rob Van Dam.
Yes, versus?
Jeff Hardy?
No. Somebody that's already come up that I said was dead.
Chris Benoit.
No.
Eddie Guerrero.
Correct. Tag team championship match.
Hurricane?
No. It was a...
Like Hurricane, like the tag team.
No.
Oh.
The one tag team I forgot existed. So
La Resistance.
One tag team almost got married to each other.
Oh, Billy and Chuck.
Versus winner of... What did he win? Tough Enough, maybe? Or
Maven?
Yes.
And Goldust.
No.
And Crash Holly.
No. One of Mankind's buddies that they have like a running... They used to make fun of each other all the time.
Terry Funk.
Al Snow.
Oh. Maybe, ew.
Undisputed #1 contenders match with Ric Flair as a guest referee.
Triple H.
Nope. A lot of guessing this week.
Kevin Nash.
No. 2 huge names from the Attitude Era. Huge.
Austin.
Yes.
And The Rock?
No. Big.
Show.
Retired.
Oh.
Some would say he's dead, but he's not.
Oh, no.
Undertaker.
Oh.
Undisputed WWF Championship.
Triple H?
Versus?
Hulk Hogan.
Correct. Yuck, by the way.
I figured.
As
I
you
knew
would
Hulk
say,
Hogan was
no
this,
thanks.
I knew Hulk Hogan was this era.
Don't like that name being on my show even. Backlash 2003. 6-man tag team match. Star-studded affair.
Oh, Kevin Nash.
Correct.
Booker T.
Correct.
Chris Jericho.
Yes.
Triple H.
Yes.
Shawn
You got
Michaels.
kind of teams messed up here. Yes. That's 5 of the 6 competitors.
Rob Van Dam.
No.
Nah. Who was the last one?
So Nash, Booker T, and Michaels were one team. Jericho, Triple H, and
Ric Flair.
Correct.
Yeah, that was in the 2K15 showcase. That's the only reason I know that.
World Tag Team Championship match with Chief Morley from beautiful Markham, Ontario, as a guest referee.
Val Venus?
Sorry?
Is that Val Venus though?
Yes.
Sean Morley, right?
Yes.
Goldust and no wait, because Booker T's on the show. That does not count. Lowers Resistance.
No. Ooh, I like them actually back
Kane
in the
and
day.
RVD.
Yes. Versus?
Bubba and Spike Dudley.
It says Dudley Boys, so I don't know.
I think it's probably
I'll give it to you. How's
Dudley
that?
Boys.
Women's championship match. Sounds familiar.
Jazz.
And?
Victoria.
Nope.
Trish Stratus.
Yes.
What, again?
2 years in a row, unless my sources were incorrect. WWE Tag Team Championship in 2003.
This is SmackDown. World's Greatest Tag Team?
Yes, who are awesome. I'd forgotten about them. Versus Family Tag Team. I got a big hint waiting, but if I give you that, you'll know right away. Heels. Usually, actually, no, they probably, even though they were cheaters, they might have been faces at some point too. It's part of their thing.
Los Guerreros?
Yes. They lie, they cheat, they steal, you know.
I did not know that.
They do. WWE Championship match, but not the main event.
Let me think.
You go ahead and think.
Brock Lesnar?
Correct.
And Kurt Angle?
No.
Oh.
Brock Lesnar versus?
Big Show.
Nope. One of the biggest stars ever.
The Rock.
Sadly. Nope.
Hulk Hogan.
No. Think Fruity Pebbles.
John Cena?
Yes.
Huh.
And the main event singles match that got the main event despite not being for anything between legends.
Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon.
No.
Stephanie McMahon.
You don't
and
even
Vince
remember.
McMahon.
No. A movie star now versus a WCW all-timer, I guess. I don't know.
Goldberg?
Versus?
The Rock.
That is correct, sir. Very good. So that was hit and miss. You got some, you missed some. That's about what I figured, though. Some of these, how could you possibly know? But anyways, that finishes up our Off the Top of His Head segment. And we will transition next back into our in-depth reviews, and that will take a look at AEW Dynamite.
And we open with Hangman Adam Page taking on Brian Cage of Team Taz. Team Taz gets a sneak attack on Page during his entrance, and Dark Order then attack Team Taz to help out Adam Page. Cage hits a powerbomb on the lower part of the stage that connects to the ring. And the show seems to be taking place during daytime, or it's just brighter out because they are in Florida.
Yeah, it seemed brighter for sure.
The match starts, corner stomps by Cage and a belly-to-belly overhead suplex. Corner shoulder box by Cage, and then he has the corner uppercut, Dom Magiri combo, followed by a German suplex for 2. Page gets sent into the barricade now on the outside and gets sent into it again. Page gets backdrop on the apron. Body slam by Cage on the outside. Rolls him in the ring for a 2 count. Cage does bicep curls while holding Hangman, then throws him over his head. Hangman counters a standing moonsault, a super kick by Cage. Outside and superplex from the second rope by Cage for 2. Cage gets low bridged, but he catches a plancha. Hangman gets out though and sends Cage face first in the ring post. A moonsault from the top by Hangman to the outside, and Cage gets a sweet counter to the buckshot. He counters into an F5 for 2. A power bomb and a buckle bomb by Cage, and then the drill claw for the win? Question mark.
Yeah, I was stunned. Very little surprises me in wrestling anymore, and this did. A good opener. Cage obviously looked really strong. Cage and Team Taz in general needed a win. We keep saying, right? Like, how can you be this high profile and never win anything, basically? This was certainly a big win. Page can take this loss, I think. Maybe because we talked about, right? He's the number one contender, and maybe they're not ready for him to challenge for the title yet, so they need to slow him down a little bit because he should be facing Omega, right? So, Cage is a great guy to put over to accomplish that, right? Like, that's a huge win for Cage. And just as an added thing, I think the drill claw deserves to be protected. So even while I thought he was going to kick out of it, I'm glad to see he did not, because that move is sick.
Yeah, it was a good opener as well. I would have expected a little better, maybe a little longer. But I still liked it for what we got. I'm really surprised with the outcome. It's very interesting. I'm curious why. Not because Cage isn't good, but because Page seems to be on a roll lately.
Yeah.
Like you said, they could just be slowing him because I feel like they shouldn't have the Omega Page payoff yet.
Agree.
So maybe they're just waiting for that.
And if they're like, we need to cool him down, who could we? Because somebody will. It's a big deal to beat him right now, so Cage is a good choice, right? If you got to beat him.
A good opener and, like you said, an actually surprising result.
It was.
The Elite and the Good Brothers in a limo, because the Good Brothers are not Elite.
And Gallows is licking his bicep. Did you notice that? Because you were taking notes, so I made a note of that, which I thought, like, anyway.
Gallows.
Yeah, I guess.
Callis talks about Omega's victory at Rebellion. Well, what do you know? They're mentioning it.
Yep.
Callis talks about the Bucks' upcoming match with the Side Owls. Omega says he's pissed off because of what Mox and Kingston did last week to their trailer. Or bus or trailer, whatever it was.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking
trailer
too.
No, it wasn't a bus. It's Cody with the bus.
That's right.
Omega says wherever they go, the gold and money follows. Omega says he's unfazed by last week and he's not afraid. A car horn, again, basically like last week, but it's just Nakazawa pushing the wrong button. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
And Omega says when you mess with one of them, you mess with all of them. And he says if Kingston wants one of them, he can face Nakazawa.
Yes, which he will, I guess. It was funny because they're talking so tough, right? And then a car horn, and they're scared. So I like that little, like, we're big tough guys, and then terrified by a car horn.
Because that's what happened last week.
You're right. I thought Kenny did a good job here, but man, because I was thinking this is still before Impact Rebellion, right? They do not care about Impact at all. Like, there's no.
Oh right, this is
before Rebellion, right? So there's no mention of any of it here, just as to sort of what we're saying.
Well, they did mention a little at the beginning.
Yeah, like what is so?
Wait, no, this is after Rebellion.
What?
I said he talks about Omega's victory. Or
yeah, no mention really. Not a lot of detail about it. Sorry, they did. I thought it would be a big deal, right? Like you just won the belt from another quote unquote major promotion, but it's like not a big deal here. But anyways, I thought Kenny did fine, but I don't love all these guys together for some reason. I don't know what it is. But maybe it's Gallows.
I like Omega and the Bucks together.
Yeah. That's definitely my favorite core of the group for sure.
Because they're the Elite. Good Brothers are not. Next we get the Young Bucks versus the Sydal brothers.
Brothers versus brothers.
World Tag Team. It's the AEW World Tag Team Championship Eliminator match. I mean, which is if the Sydals win,
they get a shot.
They get a shot.
Right.
And Sydal has experience. Matt Sydal has experience in this situation.
Yes, and the Bucks are wearing some black leather jackets with faux fur collars. I assume
Seth
faux
Rollins,
fur collars.
Yeah. Called out, which I thought was funny. He says like congratulations to his jacket for making it through the forbidden door, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is the case, but it really feels to me like, you know, when they say the best wrestling characters are the actual people dialed up, I feel like this might be closer to who the Bucks actually are, and they're just cranking their personalities up. They seem to be really enjoying being heels, like just
it is probably
absolute jerks, right?
More fun.
Oh, for sure, it would be.
Yeah, they're wearing like a sleek black look, which looks pretty awesome, and it's a stark contrast to what they wore. I think it was in their match with Death Triangle.
No more Dior Nikes. I didn't notice this time.
Maybe, but they were at least just wearing black.
Do you know those are? I've heard those are being resold for like $15,000.
Yikes.
Those shoes, not the Bucks specific worn ones, but like those shoes in general are like
okay.
thousands and thousands of dollars.
And this is a note-taking nightmare for me because
it is.
If the Sydals are in a tag match, I'm gonna call them Mike and Matt, and when the Jacksons are in the tag match, I'm going to call them Nick and
Sorry,
Matt.
I was thinking you were saying speed of action, but you're...
Because if I call them by their last name, they both have the same last name because both tag teams are brothers.
It's a
but
nightmare.
now if I just call them Matt, yeah, it's now Matt to Matt. So that's
I trust you.
That's fun.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, so Mike versus Matt Jackson to start.
Yep.
So that's what I'm going to do. Holds and counters, standing moonsault by Mike. Nick tags in, arm drag by Mike. Matt Sydal tags in. Holds and counters again. I thought this was a nice touch. Nick is in a hole. He's yelling. He's like, "Cameraman, help me!" or something, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, they're just smart Alex. They do it well.
They're pretty good. Mike tags in, drop toe hold, drop kick by the Sydals, which is really fast. It looked really good.
It was good.
Like as soon as he got hit with the drop toe hold, Matt Sydal, I think was right there to hit him with the drop kick.
Them brothers got good chemistry.
Mm-hmm. And then double drop kicks to Matt Jackson by the Sydals. Matt Jackson now tags in after he was not legal. Super kick by Matt Jackson followed by a clothesline. A double clothesline post commercial break. Both Nick and Mike are down. Twin magic thing by the
even though
Bucks,
they're not twins, but it worked somehow.
Matt Sydal gets a hot tag brainbuster by Matt Sydal for 2, and Matt Jackson is magically legal as the ref noticed the trickery, but then didn't care.
He sort of replaced Nick lying face down on the mat,
and then
didn't care.
And then he turned over and then got up, and the ref's like,
referee's discretion.
And he noticed. He's like,
whatever.
Whatever. You can do that.
Yeah.
A cool counter to the Meltzer driver by Matt Sydal and a standing corkscrew senton. Now I wish I'd written it down because I don't remember what it was.
What? The counter?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes things happen so quickly, it's just
I just
tough.
wrote that it was cool.
Yep.
Stereo Meteors by the Sydals. A double Hurricane Rana by Matt Sydal. A crucifix pin for 2 by Matt Sydal. Hurricane Rana to Nick by Matt Sydal. Matt Jackson avoids a Frankenstein. Sydal hits the ropes legs first, which is the exact same spot he did in his Eliminator match against Kenny Omega.
Right.
Which I love that match.
Good touch.
Mike tags in. Nick distracts the ref in a low blow by Matt, and the BTE trigger for the win. Following the match, the SCU come out, and Kaz talks about the Bucks' new attitude and look. Kaz reminds us of SCU's agreement to break up at their next tag team loss.
Right.
Kaz is the ranked number 1 and are undefeated. Daniel says he was looking forward to facing his friends, but he doesn't see those friends in the Bucks anymore.
Ooh.
Daniel says they won't have to wait much longer, and they'll take what is most precious to the Bucks, which is the tag team titles. Thoughts?
I thought this was a good match, and you're going to be happy for me to hear me say that I thought Matt Sydal looked really good here again.
Yeah, he's good at these matches.
The Bucks are certainly embracing their heel personas, although I thought they did a little more like babyface offense. The last match they had, they pretty much stayed grounded most of it. They did a few things here, but
they
nothing.
also had Ray Phoenix to fight.
I can't imagine the SCU are ever going to beat the Bucks, so their team seems to be on...
that's just a way to write them off.
Seems to be on borrowed time, right? Although Paige just lost to Cage, so who the heck knows anymore, right? But,
right.
Yeah, I like this match. I thought Matt Sydal looked really good.
It's weird. Sydal he's good at these matches, even though I don't think he'll ever win one.
No, I don't either. But
I
he's
thought
good.
This was pretty good. Not as good as the last winner match, because I love that one so much.
Yeah.
That's like a match of the year contender for me. And I don't think he'll amount to too much in AEW, but he's a great talent in ring and can provide good matches like these. I didn't write it down, but I guess I'm referring to Matt Sydal.
I think you are.
SCU versus the Bucks could be good because SCU's not terrible.
Yeah,
I would assume this is the way to get rid of SCU.
I think so too. And yeah, I'm sure it'll be a good match. They're not super interesting to me, but and sometimes it looks like Daniel's lost a step, but Kaz is still awesome.
Right. Next we get a Jade Cargill promo. She talks about how all the managers want her. She says the problem is they want a cut of her money, but she wants money from them.
Right.
And she says they have to wow her if they want her to sign and like big money stuff.
Nothing wrong with it, but same as last week,
right,
basically.
And it's even like the same thing. Like you gotta wow me. And it's like, it's not quite that as bad yet, but it's like it's the problem I'm having with LA Knight, and this is just like it's the same thing. It's like. I don't know, it's getting a little boring, and
with
I don't
her, I
love
mind
her
less because she's learning and like she's doing a good job of what they're giving her. With Knight, it's like you should be more varied than this with your experience, right? So I didn't think like there was nothing wrong with this promo, and she's doing a good job with what they give her. But this was, I was like, what is this? Just a replay of last week, basically, right? So it's very similar.
Mm-hmm. Next, we get the match I was very much looking forward to, which is Orange Cassidy versus Penta El Zero Miedo. Already a third match on the show. Yikes.
Big Penta fans here.
And it's Trent with a question mark.
Yeah.
Who's accompanying Orange Cassidy, and I thought that was great announcing from Justin Roberts because he's like accompanied by Trent.
Yeah, he did.
Which I thought was pretty funny.
Yep.
Another pre-match promo from Penta, obviously translated by Alex Abrahantes. Penta stopped the hands in pockets. Sarah Miedo. There was something else probably, and then another Sarah Miedo. Penta blocks the hand pockets again. He removes the glove. Sarah Miedo.
It was all them just doing all their signature hand gestures, right at the beginning of the match.
And I have made a pact to know every Sarah Miedo in Penta's matches.
So get used to that, listeners.
And Cassidy removes his sunglasses, puts his hands in his pockets. The kicks of doom, as they are called by Cassidy, and a lazy arm drag, which is basically he manages to arm drag Penta with his hands in his pockets.
Still insane to me, the stuff this guy does with his hands.
It's pretty cool.
In his pockets.
Yeah, I still like him. He might have lost a bit of his steam, but
he has for me, for sure.
He's still good.
Yep. No, he's a talented in-ring performer. He's more than just a gimmick, right? So if you get him in a match, he's going to be fine.
Right. Monkey flip by Cassidy. I've actually got my Cassidy figure right here.
Nice.
Monkey flip by Cassidy with his hands still in his pockets. Panat.
It's funny. I was just looking at one of mine, and it's Pantea.
Nice.
Yeah.
Penta avoids beach break. But Cassidy avoids the package pile driver. It's funny. Their finishers work perfectly. Where it's like if Cassidy were to counter the pile driver, he could lift him up into a beach break, and vice versa. So I find that kind of cool. Backbreaker by Penta. I believe it was a tilt roll backbreaker.
It was.
Crucifix pin for 2 by Cassidy. Penta catches a suicide dive with the gorilla press, kind of.
That's where I called him Pantea. That was pretty crazy. I mean, Cassidy's not a huge guy, but I don't know if I've seen that before. He suicide dives, was it through the second and top rope, right? And it's just at the
usually a suicide is, yeah.
Just at the right height for
Penta
to
easily catch him, right?
It was cool.
Like, and he drops Cassidy face first on the apron. Corner Damagiri by Penta, and he hits another one. Cassidy hits Penta's face off of turnbuckle multiple times, or multiple corners, I think it was, and then a diving crossbody. A brainbuster by Penta for 2.
Yep.
Punches by Cassidy. Penta avoids the orange punch and hits a delayed version of the Fear Factor, which is the pump handle half Nelson driver. He kind of like, so he hooks him up with the pump handle half Nelson, right? He kind of like lifts him up, holds him there for a second, then drops him down.
Or if you're me, you write down pump handle something or other for 2. Cool. That's my note. You're the detail man.
Fear Factor.
Yes.
You can just call it Fear Factor.
But I won't remember that, is what I'm telling you.
I'll say it every time.
I know you will,
say it every time.
you'll hope that I'll remember, but I won't.
But yeah, so it's cool. He kind of like lifts him up and then
it's cool.
Drops him down. It was pretty cool. I think this is one of his finishers in Impact, or it's like his signature.
Yeah.
But I think it could also be a finisher. Penta goes for the arm snap, and Cassidy counters by managing to get his hand in his pocket.
Yes,
which I thought was funny. He's like struggling to get it. It was pretty funny.
Yep.
A super kick by Cassidy. Penta a super kick as well, which Excalibur called a thrust kick. And there's sometimes where it's a thrust kick, and there are sometimes where it's a super kick, and this is not a thrust kick.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't.
He calls it a thrust kick.
I don't really know the difference.
Well, thrust kick, it's kind of like you kind of like come from behind or whatever, and like you kind of like that. Super kick's like, you know, thrust kick
6 of one, half dozen of the other. Really,
from, like thrust, like I don't know.
Sure.
Penta catches orange punch with a super kick, and a destroyer by Penta.
Yeah.
Cassidy counters with package pile driver into a beach break, but Penta kicks out. Corner
Which was
punches.
Pretty cool near fall.
Mm-hmm. And stomps by Penta. Running super kick by Penta.
I called that one a thrust kick. That's funny. Literally crazy thrust kick to seated Cassidy's head.
Yeah, he seated in the corner. It was like a super kick.
So I clearly don't know the difference. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't. I just sort of.
I'm pretty sure it's just like he was kind of like, or like he was like shuffling and kind of looks like running.
Either I'm just switching back and forth, or I'm going off of what Excalibur said. I'm not sure which, but I clearly don't know the difference.
Excalibur's doing you wrong here,
like,
buddy
maybe.
boy. Cassidy counters a move with my favorite named move of all time, the Stun Dog Millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
It's so great. Diving DDT followed by a tilt whirl DDT by Cassidy. Alex. I meant to type Alex. Says Penta said something that's like worse than the thing he said about Trent's mom in that match, I guess. And so Cassidy pulls him in the ring. As the ref is distracted by Alex, Trent hands the mic to Cassidy, who hits mic-assisted orange punch for the win, kind of like payback for last week.
Right.
And Cassidy picks up the win. Thoughts?
I thought the match was really good. Penta kind of looked like a killer in this match, I thought, which he should. I'm not sure about the finish, but it makes them even on mic shots, right? Because isn't that what happened the week before?
Yep.
So I don't like to see this version of Penta lose, but at least the baby faces had to cheat to beat him, and I thought the match overall was pretty fun. You?
Mm-hmm. A good match again. I would have rather Penta win, but I guess Cassie winning works here, so I'm fine with it. I'm enjoying this feud so far. 2 good matches have been produced already. So I'm excited to see where this goes next. It does feel like it's just Penta versus Best Friends right now, but
Yes.
I guess because Death Triangle have just been absent after the tag loss, which I guess is a little understandable. Hopefully we see them next week or something.
Right.
But this was good stuff. I liked it.
Me too.
Britt Baker gets an interview. She says she told us so. She says she is at the top of sales, demographics, star power, and now rankings.
And they just happen to be a TV behind Tony with the rankings with her on
Right.
top now, of course,
Right.
behind her.
She says it's time she reminds everyone why she is the face of the women's division. She signs off with her DMD catchphrase and also makes Tony Schiavone do the finger point.
That just made me laugh, like they're raising their finger to be the number 1 contender, and just the subtle little put your finger up or whatever.
Or like do the thing and then they all do DMD.
The chemistry between she and Tony, I was telling you, I think they've really become really good friends behind the scenes.
Which is odd.
It's just interesting that they have chemistry together and they're becoming good friends. And she's just super entertaining and owns the character. Good chemistry with Schiavone.
I'm sure the whole dynamic between them on screen works much better when they are friends.
And even though Rebel never really says much, she adds a lot. I think like she's actually a pretty important part.
I just like her kind of like she's like always kind of like excitable, I guess, or like.
And she's a big part of Britt's presentation, right?
No, for sure. Just like kind of she just always gets bossed around by Baker.
And because she's not a wrestler, I don't feel like there's the impending like, oh, they're gonna break up and feud.
Right,
like
she's more like the not manager, but just like goon.
Yeah,
lackey,
whatever. It was her makeup artist or something to start, wasn't it?
Right.
So, but yeah, I think she adds a lot, even though she says very little. It's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Next we get what I was looking forward to, the Pinnacle Inner Circle Blood and Guts parlay.
Right.
The Inner Circle security guys, because both teams have security people for some reason.
Yes.
They ride in on motorcycles.
Tensions are high. We got to keep them. Yeah.
And of course, the Inner Circle has to use Jericho's theme again. Like.
Right.
That's.
No. I honestly wonder if that's one of the main reasons they turned them babyface is because once fans are back, that song.
You're screwed.
Right.
Well, then you just use the Inner Circle's theme song and be like, "Ha! Can't sing to this."
But you also have trouble not using a theme that people love, right? That would be tough.
Well, then that would only be a Jericho in a solo match.
I guess.
So Tony Schiavone's in the ring to explain the rules. War games. Accept the submission or surrender. So basically, just war games, no pinfalls.
And it's 2 minutes, right? Didn't they say?
What?
Isn't that faster? I thought War Games was 5 minutes.
I think they said 5 minutes.
Oh, did they? Sorry,
I honestly don't know.
I thought they said 2.
I'm pretty sure 5 minutes though.
Yeah.
Spears hits the coin out of Schiavone's hands because there was going to be a coin toss. He says there should be no coin toss because the Pinnacle deserve it for being lured into this match. Spears says Jericho's leading the Inner Circle into deep water and he'll step on Guevara's head while he's drowning.
Mm-hmm.
So as you will see, they kind of pair off.
Right.
Mid-card, tag team, main guys.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I don't mind it, but it just seems like very like I don't know.
Contrived.
Right.
Yeah. For sure.
This is just not. I don't know. This is how
it's
it
like
works.
you and I are at the same level.
I guess
so we'll
when there
talk.
was the brawl, when the Inner Circle came back and they did kind of pair off, so I guess there's like that. Yeah. I guess you could say.
But
so I guess it's not terrible.
They're definitely pairing off by placement.
But it's fine.
Yes, I don't mind it.
It makes sense. Guevara says Spears has been a failure since he's come to AEW and his previous promotion, which was a good shot.
Correct. Also. Pretty true a little bit. I mean,
I don't
maybe
think
not his fault at WWE.
I think in WWE he had the potential to be good. I love Ty Dillinger, but
especially in NXT, man, he was cool.
Mm-hmm,
That's what we say about everyone. When they're in NXT, they were cool. And
I remember even in 2017 he entered at number 10 in the Royal Rumble, and just everyone lost their mind. That was pretty awesome.
I just found it funny in his matches whenever anyone was counting anything, the crowd would just chant 10.
I remember when he was like counting someone out of the ring and be like
10 the whole time. Which was funny to me.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I wonder how the refs would have felt like just everyone saying
getting drowned out by everybody,
or just like it would be funny if they lose track. Guevara says he'll take them on no matter what, and Guevara says the Pinnacle can have the advantage. So, and then Spears kind of like smirks and he's like, which I thought was a nice touch. Like he's successfully
talked them into giving up the advantage, which is significant in theory,
right? Which I thought was like. That was a cool way of doing it instead of like a match or a stupid coin toss, so I think Spears are kind of smart there.
Yep.
Cash says he doesn't want the soft lackey Santana Ortiz or else they won't survive and they should bring their best.
Calls
Dax,
them lap dogs.
yeah. Dax says someone's life will be shortened. He's not afraid to die. He says he wants Proud and Powerful to tell our kids and families they won't be coming back, which is that's just.
You can't talk about people's kids. That's the trigger in wrestling. You talk about their family and look out. So you can see Ortiz and Santana getting
right and
fired up here.
Santana says he'll let his hands do talking at Blood and Guts. There's a little more there, but that's basically what I got.
Yeah.
Now we're on to the main dudes, which is where it should get good. MJF thanks Jericho and says Jericho was the top dog and created the top faction in AEW. MJ says Jericho has a lot of pressure because when he screws up, he's carrying the company and it affects everyone else. And he's got to, lead the charge or whatever, something.
Yes.
MJ says he'll take that burden from Jericho at Blood and Guts, and the Pinnacle will replace the Inner Circle. As if they haven't already. They're now the top heel faction.
Seems so.
I mean, that's because Death Triangle aren't really heels right now.
No.
Once Death Triangle are
look out.
Once Death Triangle are heels, Pinnacle will be dead to me. MJF says he'll thank Jericho again when he's standing over his lifeless body, which is a good line. Jericho calls MJF a prick. He says MJF is so entitled and he has to earn the spot that he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Jericho says he's learned respect, headlining when he was 25 in Japan and Mexico and whatever. And if MJF wants his spot, he needs to win at Blood and Guts, but he won't because the Inner Circle is Blood and Guts and they are family. Jericho says they won't split the Inner Circle again, which is because MJF kind of made Guevara leave.
Yes, briefly.
Temporarily, and they won't win. Jericho says it will be a summer of violence and pain for the Pinnacle and starts early at Blood and Guts. Thoughts?
I think first thing I noted is this match has to be absolutely brutal and violent and whatever because
the name even
and all of the attention they're getting and all of the personal shots between all of the people, it's got to be a big deal. So hopefully they can deliver it. And if anyone's going to,
I'm wondering if it's going to be like Cody versus Dustin. And it's going to be a bloodbath.
Just a blood. It might be.
Right.
I thought Jericho was much better after what I thought was an off week for him promo wise last week.
I agree. He was really good here.
I like that they made every person go. Got to speak over the past 2 weeks because the only ones that didn't hear were Wardlow
and Hager.
And they did last week, even though Hager probably shouldn't have. But anyways, I thought everyone did a good job here tonight. Even though they didn't say a ton, I thought Dax was really strong. MJF, obviously. And Santana feels legit to me when he talks too. He didn't say much, but
wait,
I believe
MJF was a good promo?
It's weird, eh? First time.
That's weird.
I just hope these promos aren't writing a check their bodies can't cash, right? Because at this point, there's a ton of hype.
And so based on the graphic that they've shown, the cage looks to me basically it looks kind of like a Hell in a Cell for 2 rings, or it looks similar to the steel cage that you used for Cody versus
and there's
Wardlow,
a roof, right?
where there's I think this one will have a roof, but
so
the
too.
Cody Wardlow one didn't. But there was a little bit of room at ringside. So I don't know if there's enough to walk around and grab weapons. Yeah. I hope there is in this because that would be nice. That's the one thing I don't like about War Games is that you can't grab weapons.
Right.
Unless you're coming to enter, which is then you only have a limited supply. I wish it was a 2-ring cage that goes around the ring or a 2-ring Hell in a Cell. What
were we watching that had the random buckets on top with weapons in it? Remember they're why is that bucket there? Oh, there's a weapon in it. What was that?
Was it Shane McMahon, Braun Strowman? Remember there's the random
it might have been
steel sheet?
Yeah.
Or something?
Anyways, I think there's a lot of pressure on these guys, and maybe I'm just a little gun shy because Swan Omega really under-delivered, I thought, right? After some massive hype by Impact.
That's true.
But
no, I trust AEW.
So, and can we talk about this now, right? Has this not... I swear they were promoting this as a one-match show.
And now it's 3.
Okay, so it's not just me.
No, they
who
did.
doesn't remember anything.
I literally, 1, read a news thing, and 2, remember they literally said it on Dynamite well last week.
Things have changed, which I'm okay with.
It's more of a show, right? So
yeah, please don't fill 2 hours with one match. I don't need that at all.
Right, I would say this is probably maybe at least an hour.
I think so.
So
second hour is this match. Fine.
Right.
Yep.
No, that works.
Yep. What did you think?
I thought it was a good segment. I'm definitely looking for this match. And hopefully it lives up to what this is. It should be brutal. It feels pretty personal. So.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Spears actually did really good after not really doing much. So I
he was solid. That's something I should have mentioned too. You're right. He was solid.
And Guevara's response was funny and clever. FTR were really good as well, and as was Santana once again. I don't even think Ortiz spoke.
I don't think he did either.
They saved the best for last, and MJF and Jericho delivered once again and hyped up this match. The the best they could, and it's shaping up well. Wardlow could have said something, but based on how this was structured, it would have meant Hager would have had to respond, which would be not ideal. So I'm glad neither of them spoke in this circumstance.
One other detail, that I noticed that I liked, I don't think I wrote it down, is when Jericho and MJF are doing the final little spiel, because they're all kind of lined up, right? Some of the guys behind them were still like quietly yipping at the person across from them, like Sammy's, you can still sort of chatting away. And I kind of like that too. Yeah,
that's a good touch. And I also liked how Spears was able to trick Guevara into handing over the entry advantage, I think it is, right? So,
yeah, I think
Pinnacle.
that should be like Sammy should take some heat from the group for that, because that's a poor decision, I think.
Right.
And he sort of spoke for everybody, you know what I mean?
Right. Or like you saying he'll just take them on and or like he's just trying to be,
because he wants to be the first one in, right? So that's his thing, is I'll be the first guy in the cage.
Right.
Yeah.
Which he mentioned when he was doing the sign thing and the ad break.
Yes.
Overall, I really like this. Blood and Guts should be sweet.
Yeah, it was a good segment.
Next we get Eddie Kingston versus MT Nakazawa. I don't know what MT was standing for. He's always got a computer, so it's got to stand for like something like that.
I think it's like his role within as a lackey of the elite.
Right. And Cutler seems to be like I don't know. He was spraying like cold spray and like.
And I kind of like it because they just like totally take advantage of these guys, right? And just treat them like absolute garbage because they're like lesser than.
Right. Or like, and they've been buddies with them for like forever.
Because even a while ago, right, on the Impact, I remember telling you that as soon as Good Brothers lost the tag belts on that episode, Omega was like, seemed like he was pretty much done with them. Like he was definitely cold to them because they weren't champions anymore, right? And he's all about gold and all of this. So
all about success.
And so they didn't carry that over to AEW, but I kind of liked it. He was like distant to them because they no longer were champions for
I think
one
either
episode. They
need to like Impact and AEW need to agree on something, or they just need to be more coordinated. Because I feel like if they cross over stuff like that, I feel like it benefits both.
Although maybe I'm the only one watching both. I don't know, right? So,
that's true.
Yeah.
Or at least a little more mention. I would say more cooperation on AEW's part, I would say more so, because I feel like Impact, well, they've also eased up on the AEW ads.
They have. But I kind of like that little angle, and then it was just not present on Dynamite at all.
So Eddie Kingston comes out with the mic to cut a promo.
Yay.
Kingston.
Anytime that man has a mic, I'm happy.
Yep. Kingston says he's not doing this, and he tells Nakazawa to leave the ring. Kingston says Omega orchestrated his broken ankle, and he wants Omega. Omega says they're the ones who want payback after, I guess, the trailer thing. Omega says he's like, this is what happens. He's sending out the goons.
Yeah.
After Kingston, which I thought was funny.
Like, you don't get the champ just because you want him.
Right, and he's like admitting he's just like going to send out the goons. And,
like literally telling the goons, you're my goons. You're like,
right.
I'll
and
sacrifice
telling Kingston, this is what I'm doing. You gotta go through everyone.
Yep.
And Nakazawa attacks Kingston with the computer. An exploder suplex and a spinning back fist to take out Nakazawa. And Kingston puts the chair on Nakazawa's ankle. Kingston says Omega needs to get in the ring or he breaks Nakazawa's ankle. And Prime jerk Omega. He literally says, okay, fine, do it.
Yeah, I got more goons anyway.
And he sends out Brandon Cutler. Mox attacks Cutler and Omega and brings Omega to the ring. Omega puts a chair on Omega's ankle. And Kingston says he wants a tag match with Omega in it or else he breaks Omega's ankle. Callis obliges, and Mox says they want Omega and Nakazawa. Callis obliges again.
Wonder who's taking the pin in that one.
I think Omega. I mean,
yeah, you know, for sure.
They need to start building Nakazawa,
That's
right? I feel like he's main event potential.
Yep.
Right. Kingston says they'll see Omega next week.
I thought the segment did its job. I liked Kenny not caring about. That was the right response, right? I was worried that he was going to care, and then he's just like, "Go ahead, break his ankle. I got plenty of other guys to do stuff for me." Always nice to see Eddie Kingston on the mic. I thought his little exploder backfist looked nice and aggressive. So I don't care at all about Nakazawa, but I imagine he's just in that match to take the pin. I would guess. I don't know, but it might be a fun match, anyways.
Yeah. I would like Carl Anderson, but I could see why they would want Nakazawa because it's just easy to beat him up.
Somebody to get killed, and maybe even like Omega abandons him, right? Because he doesn't want any part of it.
What's in the match for him?
Yeah.
A good segment to set up a match next week. I guess Blood and Guts is more than a one-match show. And this feud is pretty good. Omega, Mox, and Kingston are all good, so I think it's a nice group. Taz interview. Taz talks about Cage beating Hangman and Team Taz is number 1 now. Christian Cage interrupts because that's what I needed.
And just before this was when Sammy was showing the signs, and my only comment was Sammy thinks we read really slowly because each sign had like 6 words on it, but he would hold it for like 20 seconds. So, anyways, yeah.
Taz says Cage will have to deal with someone else now. I guess from Team Taz. Cage says Taz used to be a badass, but now Taz is only talk.
Oh, this is Christian Cage because it's Taz and it's Cage talking. So I had a moment of like, what?
Cage says Taz wishes he could come back like Christian, and Taz won't leech off of Christian like he does with Team Taz. Exactly, Christian was retired and should have stayed that way. Cage says he hopes eventually Team Taz realize they're better off without Taz. Thoughts?
Something about Christian Cage's promo style is just bugging me since he's been in AEW.
Yeah, I'll tell you my thoughts. No thanks.
He's supposed to be this big baby face, but he feels kind of condescending to me. Maybe it's just like too polished and slick and sounds too much like WWE. I don't know what it is exactly, but I'm personally not enjoying him. It's not quite to Cody levels where you're not a babyface dude, but it's sort of getting to that point to me where just like you're just condescending.
He cannot outwork anyone.
And I don't get the outwork things doesn't matter if you don't win. Like you just have to win, right? How hard you work isn't really relevant. It's not like you're awarded opportunity because you work hard. You just got to win, man.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say other than I did not like this.
Yeah, a big no thanks from you.
Yes. Chris Statlander versus Penelope Ford, and I guess Cassidy is accompanying Statlander, so that means she's obligated to use Cassidy's theme.
I guess so. Apparently.
So.
I mean, they're getting their money's worth. They paid for it, right?
All right. A brawl to start, a scoop slam by Statlander, a gorilla press drop by Statlander. Statlander fakes a dive and then nose boops Ford. A boot by Ford.
A boop and then a boot? Nice.
Well, Ford hits the boot.
I know.
Yeah, but apron knee drop by Ford. Strike exchange, a back heel trip lariat thingy by Statlander.
Yeah.
Running corner knee, by Statlander, and a blue thunder bomb for 2. Roundhouse kick by Statlander, solar eclipse for 2 by Statlander, heel kick for 2 by Ford. Statlander catches a handspring and hits the Big Bang Theory, which is like a front version of the Deadeye, I guess, for the win. And Statlander gets the win.
I do this all the time. I write down the name they give me because I think I'm going to remember what the move was. Do you remember what the solar eclipse was? Because I have solar eclipse for 2 as Ford kicks out. But then, because in the moment I'm like, oh, that was cool. I'll remember what it was. And then now it's Saturday and I have no idea. Even when you're like what was her finisher? The Big Bang Theory.
Well, I actually wrote that down.
So but I'm like, I'll remember. And then I don't. But anyways, I thought this was a fun match. Major, I thought, showcase for Statlander, right? She looked better here than, what was she in a tag match?
Penelope.
No, the last match Statlander was in. I didn't think she looked great.
What was it?
But anyways, I thought she looked better here. She has some cool offense. She's a very strong woman for sure. Ford got a nice few flurries in.
I think it was a squash match.
I think the match was totally fine. It was definitely a showcase
Not
for
this match, her other match, I meant.
Showcase for Statlander. I thought she looked good. You?
I think it was a decent match. I think maybe Ford could have gotten more offense, but I guess it was a showcase for Statlander, so it was fine.
Yep.
10 gets a quick promo. He's talking about Brody Lee and what winning the TNT title would mean to him. And next we get, I was actually looking forward to this. Haha, psych. This is a big no thanks. It's The Factory, which is QT Marshall, Nick Komoroto, and Aaron Solo versus the Nightmare Family, which is Dustin Rhodes, old, and Billy Gunn, old, and Lee Johnson, jobber.
You hate your Lee Johnson.
I just don't like the Nightmare Family.
I got a bit of time for Lee Johnson.
Not when he's teaming with Billy Gunn and Dustin Rhodes.
It's not his choice.
Yeah, but this is not the match for me to care about Lee Johnson.
Fair enough.
The Factory entered the Nightmare Express, LOL, which is kind of like...
they stole the bus, I guess.
Yep, Cody's big, fat, egocentric bus.
The most Cody bus possible, basically,
right. Yep. Nightmare Family, attack. Gunn has rib tape because he got punched by Anthony Ogogo.
And it is just a target in this match for a bit.
Backbreaker by Komoroto for 2 to Gunn, who, I think I mentioned last week he has his name back.
Yes.
Gunn and Komoroto are legal as the match officially has started. Rhodes makes the hot tag. Lariats don't take down Komoroto. Strikes and uppercuts by Rhodes. Komoroto takes control before commercial break. And I don't understand how Rhodes punches even face him when Komoroto was able to just no-sell a wooden chair. And this is what I mean. You're just setting up for failure right here. Like,
it's like the Ogogo punch, right?
Right,
like every punch he
exactly.
gives now has to kill somebody.
Right, and it's like
tough to keep that up.
Right, it's just so like stupid.
I'm not a fan.
You're setting them up for failure, honestly. Like, so QT and Dustin Rhodes are legal now. And Johnson and Solo both tag in post commercial break. Flurry by Lee Johnson, a running corner chop by Johnson, Blue Thunder Bomb by Johnson for 2. Komoroto breaks the pin though. Johnson sends Komoroto and QT to the outside in a corkscrew dive. That looked pretty cool. Ogogo stomach punches Johnson, who is now dead, I assume.
Retired.
And then he murders Billy Gunn straight up again. And QT tags in and pins Johnson off of the damn Ogogo punch. I get Lee Johnson's not like a top star, but he's losing to a stomach punch.
This is like the one-winged angel, man. It's protected now.
Don't even. That's
Sorry.
That's the worst comparison ever.
Put that thought in your mind.
That's the last. So the factory win. Komoroto hits Rhodes with the cowbell.
Yep.
The bull rope, cowbell, whatever. Factory leave, but Gun Club attack QT Marshall, who's in the ring. The factory attack Gun Club as QT retreats. QT goes to the bus, and you literally see it through the window. Cody comes out and attacks, and eventually Cody gets a figure 4 on top of the bus. And as Aubrey Edwards has climbed up, he's like, "Hey guys, if you can't hear me, I'm yelling from you up here."
There's a ref on top of the bus with them, which
hey, stop doing that.
Yeah, made so much sense.
I don't know why you would. What's the point of a figure 4 on the top of a bus?
I guess it's like a cool visual. They can thumbnail it or something. I don't know.
Sure.
I didn't think this was great, but I wasn't really expecting much. I actually thought Lee Johnson looked pretty good, but unfortunately, I thought Komoroto did not look very good here, and I want him to because I think
probably because of that chair shot. I'm telling you,
he has such a cool look, though, right? Like he just looks like a beast. But I thought he looked pretty green here. Solo really didn't do anything, right? He just kind of sold for Lee Johnson, so I didn't see much of him.
I think he looks cool. I want to see more of him.
And we got not much of him in this match, right?
No, I haven't seen much of him, honestly.
And Cody's clearly trying to elevate his buddy QT here, and he can try all he wants, but I'm not sure it's going to work. I'm kind of interested in the group, I guess, but I don't know if QT is the leader I would choose for them. But anyways, I didn't think it was great. What about you?
No. The match was not that great. It was pretty short and not pointless. I think most people looked bad. Lee Johnson had some cool moves.
He did.
And as for the aftermath, there have been a lot of aftermath shenanigans in AEW.
So much.
I don't know if I've ever cared about one less.
Right.
This is a dark rivalry at best.
Buddy, you got to see a figure 4 on a bus. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I should be grateful.
That is entertainment.
That was cool. Cody's attack, that was a hardly return. Whoopee, you're back, bud.
And I wonder, was it intentional that we could see him through the door the whole time?
Oh my God, it's Cody! QT.
I wonder what's gonna happen. But anyways,
I don't know. He's not gonna come out the door. He's just gonna be like, "Hi, QT."
Not my favorite AEW segment, shall we say?
QT sounds like cutie.
Yeah, it does.
Hi, cutie. That'd be funny. So Cody Rhodes versus QT Marshall next week. I don't care.
No, me either.
Kenny Omega and MT Nakazawa, I guess, versus John Moxley and Eddie Kingston next week. John Moxley versus New Japan Pro Wrestling's Yuji Nagata.
He was 1,000 years old. Yeah, but he's an absolute legend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For the IWGP US title in 2 weeks.
Yep.
So after Blood and Guts. And while this is not exactly what I want, at least this is a start, right? One, you're getting one of their titles defended. 2, you're having someone come over. So
New Japan involvement.
Right.
Yeah.
So if this is how you have to start it, I guess that's fine.
Open the floodgates, right?
Right.
Yep.
Britt Baker will be in action next week, and we'll be getting, I think it's next week. It's either next week. I'm pretty sure it's next week. SCU versus Jurassic Express versus Varsity Blondes versus the Acclaimed 4-way elimination tag to determine the number 1 contenders next week, even though SCU are ranked number 1.
That could be a fun match too.
And also Blood and Guts next week.
Obviously.
So Kip Sabian goes to talk to Miro, and he gets obliterated, gets his door slammed into Sabian's hand, or gets the door slammed into Sabian's hand. And Miro says, "Good talk," which I thought was kind of funny.
Choked him with a chain at one point too, right?
He just kept throwing him into walls in the locker.
I also like the good talk part was perfect.
That was funny.
And this is what I want in Miro, right? A monster, vicious beatdown with one little line that amused me. Exponentially better than what he was doing before. And he's going to look great just killing Sabian in a match. No offense to you and your boy Kip Sabian, but that man's getting a beat down, and it's probably going to be fun to watch. But it's amazing how quickly they've turned Miro around for me, and I'm very happy about it. You look disappointed.
Yeah, makes me sad.
Sabian's going to die.
It works. No, the Miro is going to be a star, so I know he's going to be bigger than Sabian. That's just apparent, but I want Sabian to do something.
Yeah, that's fair. You like who you like, man.
I like Kip Sabian I don't even know why I like Kip Sabian. He has a good theme.
He does. I agree.
Yes. Haha, you agree with me.
Yep.
Ha. You usually don't like
I don't
themes.
agree on his star power or potential, but
you usually don't agree with me on the theme, so that's a victory for me.
He's a solid hand.
Yeah!
That's like the ultimate, like, you're going to be around forever but never get a belt.
Hey, you don't usually agree with me on the theme, so I'll take that
theme's
victory.
Pretty good. Let me put it this way. Whether it's good or not, I think I like it, but it's identifiable. Because normally I'm like, I don't know whose theme that is, even though I've heard it 50 times, but his I know. So that's something.
Haha.
Main event
victory.
Time?
Yes. Darby Allin versus Preston Vance.
He was, and earlier when he cut that little promo, wasn't he wearing a shirt with his actual name on it? I think he was wearing like his Preston Vance t-shirt.
His Instagram handle it's Preston Vance,
that's funny.
Which is pretty funny.
I like it.
I like it because it's like it combines his name and his Dark Order number. Isn't that funny? Don't you get it?
I do get it. Yes.
Yeah,
Could you explain it to me?
This is for the TNT Championship. 10 is ranked number 5, and this is Darby's fifth straight week of defending the title.
So this is the running joke on our show, is we have noticed a disproportionate number of fifth-ranked people
Abaddon
get title shots. So we kind of
like lots of people.
We sort of joke about if you're not the champion, be the 5th place contender because that's going to get you a shot faster than anything else.
The most notable ones that you claimed, I think Abaddon was ranked number 5. I think a lot of people have been ranked number 5 who get title shots. It's just
now every time that it happens, you're going to hear about it. I promise you. And it happened here.
And it's Darby's 5th straight week of defending.
Yep.
So I find that even more amusing. So wait, he defended against, I know there's John Silver,
don't look at
Joey
me.
Janela.
Yep.
Scorpio Sky might have been one. No, that was before. Who was last week?
I don't remember. Already.
Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy was one.
Yes, was one. Was it someone big last week? Was it someone in Team Taz?
Jungle Boy. That's who it was.
Oh, there you go.
Jungle Boy, I think.
Anyways.
And
this is riveting podcasting right
there's
now.
One
as you
more.
Try to remember some random detail.
There's one more. I know I'm missing.
That's great.
One.
You are missing one, but who cares?
I wanted to figure it out.
You can look it up later.
So we start with holds and counters. Shoulder tackle by 10 turns Darby inside out. Darby escapes the stalling suplex. Backbreaker counter to a side headlock by 10. Hammer throw by 10. Darby escapes the powerbomb and hits a chop block. Darby counters a gorilla press into a pin for a 2 post-commercial break. Spine buster by 10, which seems to be one of his signature
moves. It does look pretty nice. Yeah. It's a big spine buster.
Single arm lift powerbomb for 2 by 10. It's not like Raquel Gonzalez. It's like he did a normal powerbomb, but he was only holding on to
because Darby at that point was targeting his hand,
right?
And then he still picked him up with one arm.
Right.
It was cool.
Pop over stunner by Darby, which is a staple of his moveset.
It is.
Fujiwara armbar by Darby. 10 powers out, but Darby's able to reapply. 10 gets a rope break. 10 drives Darby into the barricade and in the apron. Darby hits a somersault senton to the outside on 10 and 5. As the ref is distracted by Sting kind of chasing up the Dark Order, like trying to keep them away at least, Ethan Page gets a sneak attack on Darby Allin and a rope-assisted wheelbarrow suplex for 2 by 10.
I honestly, for a second here, was like, is 10 actually going to win? Like, I thought the interference from Page was going to be, like, enough for a second.
Which is, that's cool.
I thought it'd be weird.
That's good.
Yep.
Darby avoids the full Nelson, starts to rip at the mask of 10.
Yeah.
10 catches a springboard and applies the full Nelson, the hurt lock. And Darby counters and rolls it into a pin for the win, which is kind of classic Darby there. He retains.
Yes.
So Ethan Page distracts and Scorpio Sky hits a chop block on Sting and then goes after Darby.
Mm-hmm.
Page and Sky gang up on Sting and a heel hook on Sting by Sky. This is what you get for sticking around, Sting.
A million people running in again.
Right. Well, he's getting his butt kicked.
That's true.
So that's what he gets for sticking around.
Mm-hmm.
Page forces Allin to watch, and then 10 and Lance Archer for some reason chased off Sky and Paige. And I don't even know what the hell is Lance Archer doing
Wherever
anymore?
Sting goes, Lance Archer's close behind. I don't know.
Right.
They've got some
no, it's
burgeoning...
wherever Darby Allin goes, Sting's right there, and wherever Sting goes,
right.
Lance Archer isn't far behind.
It's a burgeoning mentorship with Sting and Lance Archer, who's got 20 years of wrestling experience, which I find funny. I thought this was a pretty good big man, little man match. 10 doesn't work very quickly, but he has some cool offense. And he looks like an even bigger powerhouse when in the ring with Darby, because that's what you get to do, is just beat the heck out of him for 15 minutes or whatever. The outcome was never in doubt, but there was a moment there where I was like, really? This is setting up for Allin to get sort of hosed out of the title, but it didn't happen. Solid main event. I will say that at some point I need Darby Allin to wrestle a different style of match. I need him to have some like sustained offense at some point, or I might lose interest because it's formulaic right now, right? Like, get beaten down for 90% of the match, win at the end. So I would like him to get in a match with someone where it's more toe-to-toe.
Yeah, I feel like I would be more okay with the formulaic matches if Sting hadn't ruined Darby Allin before Revolution. Because, like, remember before when Sting came and
yes.
He literally ruined Darby Allin for me for a while.
Yes.
And so I feel like if Darby Allin had just stayed cool, maybe I think I would be, like, just fine with it.
Yeah.
Like
I thought Jungle Boy was the opportunity because he's a smaller guy, right? To have them a more 50-50.
Which he did kind of do. He was kind of like he had to take some shortcuts in that match, right? Like
yeah. So that's just a personal thing. I still think he's awesome and a super unique talent that this company should hold on to.
But they need to display his uniqueness a little more.
They need to just switch him up a little bit.
Which I think they were doing a good job of doing before stupid Sting had to get involved.
I feel like he doesn't feel super interested in Sting. Like, Sting's always there, but it's not like Darby's interacting with him or anything,
it's like Sting's just like, oh, wait up for me, son. Or,
yeah, it's weird.
Like, I don't know. Good main event, another crafty roll up by Darby, but I feel like you should have gotten more offense instead of just you got beat up and then another roll up pin. But it was cool. 10 is good, but he's not quite there yet. He's improving. I think someday he'll be at TNT champion level.
Yes.
Overall a good match and a good way to end the show. Paige and Sky are cool together, but they need to do something other than beat up Darby Allin and run away from Lance Archer, who I thought was a heel, but I guess he had a change of heart after Sting kind of complimented him once.
I fear he's being like a flipping back and forth really quickly whenever they Archer sort of thing. It's like Big Show / Kane also had that happen a lot.
Oh,
but anyway,
he's Big Show.
Maybe.
He's Big Show. He's just better than Big Show.
Mm-hmm.
Good match in the show. Show thoughts?
Thought the wrestling was good. I didn't love the trios match, but everything else I was pretty into.
Oh yeah, that sucked.
Nothing was really bad. The parlay was the biggest non-wrestling segment, and I thought it was really entertaining. All the other segments I thought were at least fine. Nothing was really bad. Like the Jade Cargill thing was nothing exciting because it was pretty much a repeat, but it wasn't bad. So I thought this was a solid episode. I enjoyed this week, so I gave it a B+. I thought it was slightly more entertaining for me than NXT this week, but still not an A show yet. You?
Interesting. Overall, I think this show was good. I like Cade versus Paige, Bucks Side Owls, the parlay, Super Elite were good, like in the them and Mox Kingston. The Statlander versus Ford was a fine little kind of squash, I guess. And the main event was I enjoyed that. So there's plenty of enjoyable stuff, but I did not really enjoy or care for the whole Nightmare Family versus Factory stuff.
Agree.
And Cody's subsequent return and the revenge attack on QT. That felt too long. I don't even think the match, at least, was super long. It was just boring, and at times it did not make sense, and came to annoy me very much. Overall, though, it was a pretty good show, barring the Nightmare Family Factory stuff. I should probably dock the show for that chunk, because I really did not enjoy it.
Me either.
So I give this show, like, a low-ish, like, in the B+ range.
Yep.
Because I feel it was just above average for me.
I thought so, too.
And we did not coordinate that.
We do not. We just have similar tastes, and that makes sense, as we are father and son, I guess, right? So that will move us into our next segment, which is going to be where we talk about other stuff from the world of wrestling, and that is any other wrestling business. Okay, so ROH I covered early in the week. I think it was Monday. Bottom line, really good show. What I'd been waiting for, where it's lots of the main players were back. So I gave that a B+ just to let people know if they want to go check it out. It was what I was waiting for. Storylines being developed, star power back. So a much better show from the 3 weeks before, I think. So I was quite happy about it.
Nice.
Do we want to do Impact first? How do you want to do this, sir? I
I'll
have
do
Impact
the
and
match
then
first, and then I got a couple tidbits from SmackDown that I can just mention after Impact.
So why don't I do Impact? You catch your breath from doing Dynamite. We'll do your match.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Sure.
Because I only have or do you want to do your match first? It doesn't really matter.
I'll do the match, and then you can do Impact, and then I
Then
got
you
a
can
couple
just-
of tidbits.
Okay, that's
from
perfect.
SmackDown.
So let's talk about this little match you
Pro
chose.
Wrestling Rewind 10. I was searching WWE full matches on YouTube, and then I went into NXT full matches.
Right.
And I came across Johnny Gargano versus Pete Dunne for the UK title from 2017, and it appears to be taped after War Games, as there's 2 rings.
And it is available on YouTube, so anyone that wants to pause, go
It's a short
watch it.
10-minute match.
Come back. And
Yeah.
my thing was, how have we not seen this? And it's like
I don't even remember. We probably did watch it,
I
but
think
I just
maybe.
don't remember.
2 guys that we love, right, and would watch wrestle anytime. There is a chance I've seen it and forgotten, but I was looking forward to it.
Forgot about it. You definitely forgot about it.
For sure.
So yeah, let's get into this. It's from November 22nd, 2017, right after War Games, as I mentioned.
And it's so nice to hear a super engaged crowd right off
and
the
Mauro
bat.
Ranallo, but then also there's Percy Watson. So mixed bag for me.
Dueling chants by the crowd right away, which was
Yep.
cool to hear. They were in it the whole time for this. Sorry, go ahead.
This is like prime popular Gargano.
Mm-hmm.
Just-
Super shredded Gargano,
Yeah,
too. My
and we're just
goodness.
on the cusp of the beginning of the Ciampa feud.
Right.
So holds and counters to start. Obviously, running form by Dunn, which looked savage
Vicious.
as hell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chop by Dunn, running Hurricane Rana, followed by a drop kick by Gargano. Gargano avoids Dunn tries to like kind of sweep him. He's like jumping over it on
Yep.
the apron. Hits kind of like a short super kick. And then hits a running cannonball off the apron. A
It was
staple
nice.
of his moveset.
Yeah, it looked good.
Tends to be. Dunn avoids an outside tornado DDT and hits an X-Plex, kind of dropping him on the apron.
Love the X-Plex.
Dunn works on the hand and fingers of Gargano post-commercial break. Dunn works hand and arm while applying like a body scissors, almost as if he's going to go for like a Kimura, kind of.
Mhm. Yes.
But Gargano kind of like manages to counter it into a suplex into the corner. Chops by Gargano. Gargano avoids a corner attack and hits the Listo kick, which is where he kind of like, not really roll, but he rolls him and then like he kind of rolls and hits like a kick.
It looked nice.
And that's just what it's called, because I think it's also a Kalisto move that it used to be, at least.
Yep.
Dunn gets sent to the corner, but backflips over Gargano, kind of like Daniel Bryan always used to do, or does.
Yes.
Gargano went over the top rope at the same time and then catches Dunn with this classic slingshot spear for a 2 count. Suicide tornado DDT by Gargano. And
Which was really cool,
Yeah.
actually.
and it's weird because I remember the first time I saw it was NXT TakeOver War Games 2018.
Yeah.
So I must have just forgotten that he did it before that.
You kind of have to trust your opponent, I guess, right? Because he's got to be in just the right spot for you to full-on dive and get. It looked really good
Yeah.
here.
So then Dunn catches Gargano's one final beat attempt and then counters into the X-Plex for 2, which is a clean
I
counter.
thought that was a nice counter. Yeah.
Some short head kicks by Dunn where it's like kind of he holds his head there and kind of just like
I think they're
quickly
called
kicks him.
Kawada kicks because I think Kawada does
Yeah.
them.
He just like kind of holds him into like rapid
Yeah.
fire, kind of like just quick. Gargano counters the bitter end into an epic looking DDT, which
Really
is
nice.
a counter I remember Tyler Bate doing. I just love it. 'Cause Dunn sells it like a champ.
Yep, it looked great.
Like, and it's just like, it's such a simple counter, and it's the most obvious counter I've seen. Like, I've seen it many times.
Yep.
But it just always looks so like clean. It's so simple to do, right? And as long as Dunn sells it good, which he always does.
Yeah, it looked
It
really
just
good.
looks amazing. Gargano does like that tilt-a-whirl head scissors and gets him right into the Gargano escape.
Also really cool.
But Dunn bites the fingers of Gargano to get out. I think his mouth guard gets out too.
Yes, that they make a big show of the fact
mhm.
that his mouth guard is out.
Gargano counters a bitter end into a small package for near fall, which is pretty cool. A big forearm and then an enziguri by Dunn. Gargano fires back with the discus lariat and both are down. Gargano gets to his feet first and grabs Dunn's mouth guard, throws it down on the ground, and proceeds to super kick Dunn right in the face
Does
for a
he
2
ever?
count.
Yeah.
I find Gargano just has his own way of super kicking people. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but I just feel like his super kicks
Looks
are
amazing.
different from like, he's like,
And he's a
I
small
don't
guy
know.
and it still looks killer. And I
right.
like the
I
added
think maybe that's it, but like he just something but the way he does super kicks, he just does it different.
and I like the added touch of he picks up the mouth guard and looks at it, realizes that Dunn's unprotected and just kicks him right in the face immediately.
Right.
It's a cool touch.
A forearm barrage by Gargano. Dunn counters a slingshot spear, just hitting him with the forearm and then the bitter end for the win, and he retains the UK title. Thoughts, sir, and your letter grade.
I love this match. They basically gave two amazing performers 10 minutes, right, and said go. And they did not disappoint at all. Straight into the action as soon as the bell rang. Everything is so snug and crisp, right? Like just the smacking of the forearms. Everything looks as real as it's going to. Gargano sells amazing. It adds to every match he's in. Some really cool, realistic looking counters that were just like, everything's just perfect, right? And Pete Dunne, why are his forearms so real looking, right? Like they just look killer.
He's good at it.
This is babyface Gargano, one of the best ever, versus an amazing heel in Pete Dunne. Helps everything.
I think he was healed this time.
Was he?
I think so.
Pete?
Maybe not like full on heel, but like I think he was.
In this match, he certainly
at least
was. Moro's excitement adds to everything, as well as the crowd being into it the whole time.
I even knew Gargano wasn't going to win because he's American,
right, he
and
never
also
had that
Pete
belt.
Dunne lost the title in 2019.
Right.
So
if you haven't seen this, it's only 10 minutes. I think it's well worth your time. I would say, considering they're given 10 minutes, like what more would I ask for? So I gave it an A because like they don't control how much time they got, and for the time they got, this was a blast.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave it an A.
I thought it was an amazing TV match, and it felt like a really like shortened version of a takeover match. Like
it did.
Just a miniature version. It makes me wonder what it'd be like if these two were to face off takeover, and like in these exact circumstances, not stupid heel Gargano, but like classic babyface Gargano versus like, I guess Pete Dunne as he is now. Like I think he's better. Dunne is better now.
Me too.
So I would say like current Dunne versus Gargano at his peak. I think that would be a dream match for me. I wish they still did matches like this on NXT. NXT isn't bad right now by any means, but the matches just, I don't know, they just don't feel like this anymore.
No, they don't.
Maybe it's the crowd not being there, but I think it's even just the match style as well. It's like, I think maybe they also changed a bit when they were moved to TV.
Yes.
I just think like maybe
they became what, quote unquote the third brand.
Right. They became the match style became a little like inching closer to the main roster style. I feel like, they just don't do matches like this anymore. I feel like just the style. Even takeover matches are a little different in my opinion, but I think there's a short and sweet, great 10 minutes. I was a little lower, but A minus, especially by TV standards.
Yep.
Especially what I'm used to.
Yep, great match. I recommend people go find it. It's a quick little watch, lots of fun.
It's an easy, quick watch.
All right, so let's talk about Impact Wrestling. I'm actually looking forward to talking about it because I quite liked the show this week. It starts with a recap of Rebellion, obviously, from last Sunday, where Josh Alexander won the X Division Championship. Kenny Omega won the all the gold, basically, TNA and Impact Championships. Who else? There was another title change. The Knockouts Tag Champions, right? Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering. So I thought this was a really slick, well-produced package. It was basically full of slow motion replays from the show and then sort of sound bites from commentary included. I thought it was a really good package to start the show. Very professional, made it look like a sort of a big time promotion. Excuse me. The show then opens with what looks like most of the men's roster gathered outside of Scott D'Amore's office. D'Amore speaks to the group, says he understands everyone wants a shot at Omega. He says the wrestlers can meet him in the ring as he's about to address the situation there.
I actually did watch that segment.
Oh, did you?
I saw it on Instagram.
Nice. D'Amore then speaks to Callis, who implies that Kenny Omega will appear on the show, but it will be in a Zoom call. So this does not work for D'Amore. He reminds Callis the agreement they had with Tony Khan that states Omega must appear on Impact or he'll be stripped of the title, and that he'd better make an appearance in person tonight. Callis complains, suggesting that getting Kenny here on short notice could be really tough, and D'Amore says he doesn't care and he leaves. And I liked all of this to start. D'Amore has grown as a babyface authority figure. He's stopped being so smug and sarcastic all the time with the heels, and I prefer it. And Callis trying to weasel out of his agreement is obviously on brand for him, right? And D'Amore's response was appropriate and believable, right? So it's kind of looking like he's got the one up on Callis here because he is forcing Omega to show up. So D'Amore then does head to the ring. Most of the roster is surrounding the ring at this point. And he says that due to special circumstances of the main event at Rebellion, there will be no automatic rematch for Swan. So Impact needs to determine a new number one contender. He then announces there will be a 6-way match at Under Siege to determine the number one contender.
I was hoping that there would be a 6-way match before Under Siege, and then Omega defends
Championship,
the title
yeah.
Under Siege.
Well,
But
I think Under Siege is like one of the mini ones, right?
right, so I'm not gonna say anything else, but Omega is at least competing on the show. Right?
I would imagine this will be the main event, even, and Omega won't be on it, but we'll see.
Right.
There will also be then 6 qualifying matches to determine who will participate in the 6-way match.
Which always adds some intrigue to
Right.
TV.
It's one of the things about this show, right, is already we have, and I think that's one of the reasons I liked it so much. These are 2 threads that are going through the entire show. The one thread is Kenny Omega going to show up? Obviously, we know he is, but like, there's that story.
Because they're not going to strip him of the title after he's won it, right?
And the second one being like who's involved in these 6-way match qualifiers, right? So it was kind of a couple things to keep you interested throughout the show, which is smart. Demora calls Jake something into the ring, announces that he will be in the first qualifying match against a returning as his music hits, and he comes out Chris Bay, one of my favorites. So
I knew you would like this.
He's been gone for a while, so it's great to have him back. I think this guy is fantastic. I like this segment as well. All of this made sense. It was realistic in presentation, which is usually my favorite. Brought back Chris Bay, which is amazing. Set up for me an interesting match to start the show. A slight criticism would be that Demore sort of put Jake over as being impressive lately, but I was just complaining last week, right, that Jake something had lost 2 matches in a row and was not looking as strong as I would like. So minor detail, but overall, really like this segment. We then get the match right away, 6-way qualifying match, Jake something versus Chris Bay. And it looks like a lumberjack match because the roster has basically remained and is still surrounding the ring at this point.
Yeah, that's always weird when it's like, it looks like a lumberjack match, but it's not.
They're just watching. They just got the best seats in the house. So
They're all ringside enforcers.
No surprise, Chris Bay ends up winning what I thought was an entertaining 6-minute match. The finish came when Rohit grabbed Jake's ankle as he was backing into the corner to set up for a spear, I believe. Jake then turned around to address Rohit. Chris Bay hits a shotgun dropkick to the back, forcing Jake into the turnbuckles, then rolls him up for the win. And Chris Bay is the first to qualify for a 6-way match for the number 1 contendership.
Yeah.
Chris Bay is super talented and smooth. Great to see him back. Jake looked pretty good here too, to be honest. But this is his 3rd straight loss in a short period of time, which isn't great because I do see some potential in him. And I also like when Impact focuses on guys that I don't know from other promotions. So I kind of have some hopes for Jake something. But he may move into a feud with Rohit off of this, which gives him something to do with a pretty high-profile guy. So it's okay. Don Callis is on the phone with Omega, or what we assume is Omega, suggests that Omega just take the jet and pop over to Impact. Again, sort of a quick, subtle line to let them know how wealthy and whatever these guys can just hop in their jet and fly whenever. Sammy Callahan approaches.
Sally Callahan.
After a brief exchange, he lets Callis know that he has his sights set on Omega and that they won't know where or when he's coming for what's his.
Because he can teleport.
And Callis is sort of looking slightly concerned here. Gia Miller then interviews Taylor Wilde backstage and asks about having her first match on Impact in 10 years. Wilde said it feels like she never left.
Jeez, how old is she then?
And she's pretty old. She's looking forward to wrestling in Impact Wrestling Palooza as she throws up what I think is her lame W hand gesture. She does this. Not my favorite.
Yeah.
Tenille Dashwood.
Let's get wild.
Tenille Dashwood and Caleb Conley interrupt and try to recruit Wilde to be Dashwood's tag partner, something Dashwood's been doing for a while that I'll talk about in a minute. Telling her that it's her fate. It was fate that she show up just as Tenille wants a tag team partner. Wilde tells them she came back for the Knockouts title and to wrestle Deonna Purrazzo. She's not really interested in tagging. Dashwood and Caleb continue to try and sell her on the tag titles, but Wilde simply walks away as Caleb tries
After the treatment of the first champions, I don't know why you would want the titles.
Caleb tries to spin it as this was a positive interaction because I guess Wilde didn't technically say no here, so he's like, yeah, I think she sounds like she's on board, right? She's not. This was fine, I guess.
Maybe it's because, maybe I'm thinking it's, the whole, a lot of social medias have, a pretty big ego, so maybe it's, him protecting
her
ego,
right?
or, he also has that ego.
Yes, she's surrounded herself with, yes people, right? That are just, everything you do is great, and everything
Caleb
is fine.
Caleb Conley is a yes man.
Yep. It was fine. After what I thought was Dashwood's best Impact performance at Rebellion, I was hoping for something different for her character. I still don't get why the most selfish wrestler who's literally, her thing is it's all about me, is looking so hard for a tag partner. There's a bit of a disconnect there for me. It's been going on for months. I don't think they've ever offered an explanation as to why she has this goal of being in a tag team. could it be that her overconfidence and stuff is really compensating for her being lonely deep inside? That would kind of be a cool route to go, but there's been no indication
Which is like,
of that,
that
right?
would be like a realistic route to go,
Like,
almost.
despite having a bajillion followers, she's really lonely because she has no real friends. So she's
Even
looking
Caleb
to...
Conley is like, I don't know.
Just her photographer technically is his
Right.
thing. But anyways, that would be something. Just show me something, some reason why
Show me
the
something.
most selfish person wants to be in a tag team. Anyways, next week we find out Rohit will meet Trey Miguel, Rhino will fight Chris Sabin, James Storm squares off with Moose, and I think all three of those are qualifying matches for the 6-way.
I would assume so.
Tonight we have Brian Myers and Matt Cardona, as well as a rivalry renewed with Sami Callihan and Eddie Edwards. So again,
I know both of those matches early. Well, the second one,
and that's why the 6-way stuff helps, because both of these matches without that stipulation, I would be like, again, really? But even just that adds something, right? There's some stakes to the match now because the winner gets in a title or a number one contenders match. So we get Sam Beal. Do you remember him?
Yep.
Okay, good. He's one of the trainees from Trey Miguel's school who is involved with Sami Callihan's storyline. So he is facing W. Morrissey, who, as we said, has signed at least something and will be on Impact for a while. We get a recap of Morrissey's domination in the eight. Can you not do that every time, please? 8-man match at Rebellion as he enters. He grabs a mic and says that we may recognize his face, but we don't know who he is. The locker room pretends, but they don't care about the fans.
You know what's kind of funny is I just watched the interview, so I do know who he is.
And they are bad people. The only difference between them and him is he's not afraid to admit it. And I thought this was short and simple, lets us know he's definitely positioned as a heel.
Kind of does play on the, like the admitting thing, like him eventually admitting he needs help or like he has a problem.
Yeah.
So it does, like just having watched the interview, it does kind of play on like his real life issues. I feel like just like hearing you kind of cover it.
Yeah, and he's saying like nobody's really a great person. They're all just hiding it, and I'm not anymore. So right. I kind of like that angle. He looks big, powerful, and established himself as a heel. I thought this was fine. I also think using Sam Beal in this role to get a bit of experience in TV time makes sense. He's just there to get squashed by people right now. Gia Miller speaks to Deonna Purrazzo, and obviously Kimberly and Susan are in tow. Gia asks about Taylor Wilde, and Lee emphasizes former champion Taylor Wilde, and Wilde will face Lee, and Lee will win with her friends by her side. Purrazzo says that Lee and Susan can handle it themselves, and Deonna will watch from backstage. Lee agrees, and she
standing beside the monitor
watching it. Lee agrees, and she and Susan leave. So Gia then asks Purrazzo one more question, implying that Purrazzo is avoiding Taylor Wilde by not going to ringside. Deonna gets upset and defensive because she's a heel and is in fact avoiding Wilde, I would assume. Havoc shows up, just kind of stares down Purrazzo and then walks away. I thought Lee was better than usual here, and Deonna's always good. I'm guessing Havoc is sort of a stopover match before we get to Wilde Purrazzo. I don't know. But Purrazzo has subtly shifted from like a butt-kicking take on all comers to sort of the chicken heel a little bit lately. So I think I like the other version better, but this is still fine. She's really good. Gia is then speaking to
I think it might be like, she's kind of like Weasley now, and then it comes to match, she's
dominant. She's just a technical wizard. Gia is then speaking to Willie Mack about Morrissey's debut at Rebellion. Mack doesn't understand Morrissey's actions or why he seems to be picking on Mack. He's there to challenge Morrissey to a match at Under Siege. And promos have never
Cass win.
Yeah, obviously. Promos have never been Willie's strength, but this is a good starting point for Morrissey. Mack can put on a good match, and a loss won't hurt him because I assume that Morrissey will just win this decisively. So it kind of makes sense to me. It's a good use of Willie Mack. I think he can... he's good in the ring. Kimberly with Susan then faces Taylor Wilde. And you might want to look it up at some point. What the heck is Taylor Wilde's theme song? So very, very bad is all I have.
Okay, I will.
Wilde wins a good competitive 6-minute match when Lee misses the world's slowest senton.
No match notes?
Misses the world's slowest senton off the top. Wilde hits a lung blower and locks in her modified deathlock submission for the win. Susan attacks Wilde after the match. Tenille comes out to make the save, and she acts like she and Wilde are united as Wilde just shakes her head. So it's like, again,
that's kind of funny.
Since, she didn't decisively say, no, I won't team with you, Tenille's sort of like, well, I'm going to go help, and we're a team. It was kind of funny.
She's going to annoy her into it.
Lee looked aggressive here to start this match. She got a fair bit of offense in against Wild. She actually controlled most of the action in this match. There was a ref distraction by Lee, so Susan could choke Wild at one point. And I thought Lee looked better than usual, but at this point, I don't think I'll ever believe her as anything other than a mid-card sort of fodder for other stars. Wild looked good here, I guess, but I don't find her super interesting, but it was decent. Gia catches Scott D'Amore as he leaves his office, and she asks for an update on the Omega situation. D'Amore says that they've dealt with difficult champions before, and the six-way will happen regardless. It'll either be for the number one contendership, or it'll be for the championship if Omega's stripped by then. Moose interrupts, wants to know why he has to jump through so many hoops to get a title shot. He's the only man capable of getting the title back for Impact. D'Amore slightly mocks Moose and says that if Moose is so great, then winning the qualifying to get in the six-way should be easy and basically a warm-up for him. Moose grabs D'Amore by the collar as he goes to leave. He tells D'Amore not to take advantage of their friendship, and Moose won't hesitate to hurt him and anyone else to get what is rightfully his. James Storm interrupts, says he's wanted to hurt D'Amore before, but now D'Amore is the EVP of Impact, so he can't. He says that he will face Moose in a qualifying match, and he brought a sack lunch based on some wisdom his dad gave him about fighting bigger people than himself. I was confused. He hands Moose the 2 bags of food, I guess, and leaves. Moose gives the food to D'Amore, and he leaves. Outside of the sack lunch part, which I thought I didn't understand at all, the rest was good. I would love for Moose to be Omega's opponent, kind of with D'Amore reluctantly on board, because he believes maybe Moose is the only one capable of getting it back, right?
I feel like that'd be a cool story to build.
Right, like I don't want Moose to be the guy if you're D'Amore, but like who else has a chance, right? And I think that's reasonable, and that would kind of be cool for me. Because basically, as the EVP, right, his thing should be getting their championship back on their TV show and with their company. So if Moose is his best shot, that would kind of be a cool dynamic for me. But anyways, then some sort of plan to get the belts off Moose once he's reclaimed them. Maybe he has something in his back pocket, right? I don't know. We then
Matanza. He just brings out Matanza like the closet.
He has a key, pulls a key out of his pocket. Ace Austin versus Josh Alexander in the rematch Austin gets for the X Division Championship. Alexander retains the title here after hitting a powerbomb onto his knee and locking in an ankle lock for a quick tap out by Ace Austin after an 11-minute match. I thought this was a terrific Impact TV match. These two guys deserve to be focused on. This is actually a match I'd recommend to people if you don't watch Impact. Austin brought back his paper cut between the fingers with the playing card move. We actually saw a Chaos Theory by Alexander, which I love, and I hope he adds it to his repertoire as like a signature. There was a torture rack that was spun into a power bomb by Alexander that looked cool. There was a really nice spinning heel kick by Austin, and Alexander sold it really well. There was also like a drop down power slam onto the apron. It's like the world's strongest slam, but he's standing on the apron and he drops down to the floor. It looked really cool. And it was just the usual fluid, impressive offense from Ace Austin as well. These two guys could wrestle every week for me, and I wouldn't mind. So a really good match, a really good TV Impact match here with Alexander retaining. Canadian.
Yeah.
Don Callis is on the phone trying to get an ETA from Omega as Swinger and
estimated time of arrival.
Correct. As Swinger and Hernandez walk up. Swinger is short the money he owes Callis. Remember, Callis placed a bet on Omega winning. Apparently, it's $20,000 that is owed. So Callis has a favor that maybe they could do instead to square up their debt. Callis suggests that Swinger get one of his stooges to go pick up Kenny Omega from the airport and bring him to Impact. Swinger agrees and walks away, telling Callis to page him. Because pagers are so out of date and he's like living in the 80s or 90s or whatever.
Oh, right, yeah.
Callis tells Kenny that some idiot or moron will be there to pick him up. I much prefer this use of Swinger than in his casino. And $20,000 to go pick up a guy at the airport, I'll do it for less than that. Let me tell you.
Well, I think it's like he owes the money, right?
So it'd just be like
Callis is ripping himself off though. I guess it's just.
But it's also like frantically needs to get Kenny there, right? Or he's gonna lose his meal ticket. So maybe it's worth it to him. I like that Swinger brought backup in Hernandez to tell someone that he can't pay the money he owes. Like he brought Muscle, right, to be like, I can't pay the money that I owe you.
Even though it's just Don Callis.
So I thought this was pretty good. We then get a recap of Rachel Ellering and Jordan Grace winning the knockout tag titles at Rebellion before they are shown talking to Gia backstage. Gia congratulates Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering. Grace talks about Ellering being the missing link to help her finally win the tag titles.
I don't know if Ellering is the best missing link choice.
That's what they could get, probably. Ellering says it's not just her, gives Grace equal credit for the win. Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz interrupt the interview, take shots at the champs. Tasha calls Grace a fake ass Buzz Lightyear who found her Woody, which I thought was pretty funny. And then Ellering responds. Ellering was so close to making a really funny joke. She calls them Cardi B and C. So there's already Cardi B. If she had just said Cardi C and D, that would have been really funny to me. But anyways, it was a good attempt.
Right, yeah, because then they would be worse than Cardi B.
Right. Steele said that she and Kira are cashing in their rematch clause for a match at Under Siege. Surprise, surprise. I like this. Tasha was back to her entertaining self. She did most of the talking here and just tons of attitude. And maybe it's just Fire and Flava excel at chasing the belts more than being champs, because their championship run was super underwhelming for me. Not even sure it was their fault. Great to see their personality back on display. They're awesome characters that haven't been showcased very well lately, I don't think. We then get Brian Myers versus Matt Cardona, and this is a qualifying match for the 6-way #1 contender. Cardona wins this one. He gets his win back. I thought an enjoyable 6-minute match when he hit the radio silence to counter a charging Myers. Cardona was extra angry and aggressive to start this match, which I thought was nice. And it was basically the story of him selling the knee he tweaked at Rebellion, and Myers was trying to target it.
Which I guess he's fine then, right?
I think so.
Which is weird. It looked like really
It did.
Like,
he did an awesome job. Yeah. So Myers targets it, including there was a nice spot where he drops him on the steps knee first, which looked good. So these two have tons of experience and good chemistry together. The qualifying matches give these guys a reason to be facing each other again, like I said earlier. It sort of helps me, as I probably would have had a problem with this rematch right away, but there's actually stakes to it, so it makes sense. We then get a Violent by Design video, and no, Morrissey is not in the group anymore.
Yeah.
Eric Young
Actually, no, I'm fine with that.
I think I'm happy with that, because this group's not... Well, I'll talk about it right here. Eric Young talks about how Diener lost to James Storm on the Before the Impact show. Young says that...
Oh, well, that must be... James Storm's got retired, and that's an incredibly embarrassing, high-profile loss.
Young says that there's no shame in losing to Storm, as he himself has done it. Violent by Design are still trying to elicit violence on Impact, and next week, the War Machine Rhino will qualify for the 6-way and will right Violent by Design's wrongs in losing recent matches. I
don't think so.
Unfortunately, these are starting to get stale for me. Violent by Design needs to actually accomplish something, kind of like Team Taz-ish. Because I like these, right? I was interested in this group and this gimmick for Eric Young, but it's starting to be quite repetitive without them accomplishing a lot. So all the promos are really similar. The group just doesn't seem to win that much, so it does remind me of Team Taz a bit. Promo package for El Phantasmo, showing highlights from New Japan and as part of the Bullet Club.
So let me get this straight.
Yes.
In AEW, we get Yuji Nagata and they get El Phantasmo.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just going to say, I don't know anything about this guy.
I've heard his name.
He wasn't in New Japan when I was watching it. He's kind of... I
don't even know what Bullet Club is anymore.
I've lapsed in my New Japan. I feel badly about it. Maybe I'll get into G1 this year.
I know he teamed with Taiji Ishimori because I saw it. I don't know if it was PWI or something. So yeah, but I want someone current. I don't want Yuji Nagata.
Anyways, I'm interested to see this guy. I like seeing new talent, right? So I don't know anything about him, but if he's got a decent spot in New Japan, he's probably pretty good, I would think. Main event time. Ugh. Sami Callihan versus Eddie Edwards again. But again, it's a 6-man qualifier, so at least there's something going on here.
It's worth something.
Because this matchup, I'm not going to lie, is like WWE main roster level stale for me. The qualifier stip makes it less objectionable, but I still have no desire to see these two. Even though they're both quite capable in the ring, there's not much time left in the show either, I've noticed, and Omega still needs to show up. So I was like, I wonder if this maybe doesn't get too much time. So the two battle back and forth for about 5 minutes. Eddie hits a top rope.
And the match is over.
Hurricane Rana and a Blue Thunder Bomb a bit later. Power bomb by Sami. He sets up for the pile driver, but they're interrupted by Omega. I guess they didn't want to see this match again either. Magic Killer to Sami. I guess that's his receipt for sort of interrupting and talking to Callis earlier.
But maybe it's also because Edwards was supporting Swan, so they want to cost Edwards the match as well.
Yeah, that would make sense too. So I believe the Good Brothers are holding Eddie for V-Trigger set to come, but Finn Juice come out and make the save.
Damn you, Finn Juice.
And they get beaten down by the heels. Callis grabs a mic, says that this is what you get when you demand that Omega attends the show. Be careful what you wish for. So I like this sort of malicious compliance, right, by Callis. All you said,
it fits the character.
If you're going to make him come, he's going to wreck your show, basically, right? Like, sure, I'll get him here, but he's going to destroy your main event for you. So careful what you wish for, which I thought was really cool. Sammy, I guess, wins this by DQ, right? Since he was the one attacked by Omega and the Good Brothers.
Yeah, and I did see a thing afterwards that he's technically the one who qualified. Right. So, yeah.
All right.
Good for him.
Overall, I thought this was a very entertaining show. Again, the thread of the qualifier matches and the Omega, will he show up? It's just a storyline that going through the show that you can sort of latch on to. I really liked it. Chris Bay, Jake was good. X Division match was excellent. I liked Cardona Myers just fine. Wild Lee was okay. Wild versus Lee, I guess, was okay. The Fire and Flava interview I enjoyed. The opening segments with D'Amore were good. Obviously, Omega was going to show up, but I still like the idea of sort of adding that storyline in throughout this show. All this combined with no real forced comedy, right? Just a tiny and what I thought was effective appearance by Johnny Swinger and not in the casino. The show flowed really well. Everything made sense to me. I am giving Impact Wrestling an A- this week. Good for almost an A, to be honest, because I just thought like this show was planned out really well and just flowed really well. Everything made sense. Nothing was awful. There was no Swingers Palace, so A-. Good job, Impact. Keep it up. What did you want to talk about? Anything else?
I just have Daniel Bryan came up short against Roman Reigns, so he's now banned from SmackDown forever. I just think this will mean him going somewhere else. I honestly want him in NXT. I think that would just be cool.
I'm fine with it. The matches that would come out of that would be incredible.
Exactly, and he's
him Gargano for half an hour.
Right, and he's actually willing to put people over.
He is.
So
that would be amazing.
I'm not like concerned with that. Like
I am on board with your dream for that now.
Yes, I am. That's the dream.
Yep.
And then another Aleister Black vignette. I still don't know
watched
how I feel.
it because you said you were gonna watch it, so I watched it.
I still don't know how I feel. It's not bad. It's not. I don't know if I like it.
I'm leaning towards liking it.
I'm not leaning towards I hate it. I'm just like it's very interesting.
It kind of sounds like he's doing the thing where he's been picked on and whatever, like because he's been different and he just has
like his father taught him different
and he has lumped all of the fans in as these people that are
right. Like I think it's listed like he's been bullied, but it's like his father's taught because it's literally Tales of the Dark Father.
Yeah, his father taught him differently, sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I don't
it's
know
got potential. I don't hate it.
No, it does. It's just it's very interesting.
Yep. It's kind of like reminds me of like the Xia Li stuff where we're like, I'm intrigued, but I don't know how I feel yet. Right. We were like, I'm interested, but I can't say if I like it or not. Only thing I wanted to say was I watched NXT UK this week. I've been watching it.
I remember you had bullet points from something.
I've been watching it every week because I'm quite enjoying it. And all I wanted to say, a couple things. I saw a solid match between Aoife Valkyrie and Meiko Satomura. So I'd never really seen much of Aoife Valkyrie, but she
and sorry, who she's facing?
Meiko Satomura. She was pretty impressive in this. Obviously, Satomura won, but I thought Valkyrie looked pretty good. So I was a bit surprised by that. Shaw Samuels has the worst ring gear in wrestling right now, in my opinion. That's the only other thing I wanted to. And then it looks like there's a subculture faction, maybe, because there was like Morgan Webster, Mark Andrews, and Danny Luna. They all had these. I thought they were really cool vignettes about how.
No, Morgan Webster's not cool.
How various subcultures had a profound effect on their lives. So, like, it was Morgan Webster talking about sub pop, I think.
I think.
Mark Andrews, it might have been like punk and skateboarding, and for Danny Luna there was a powerlifting.
Mark Andrews, he did his own theme song.
Yeah, so I was kind of interested in it, and you know me, I like factions, so if it puts a little group together, I'm okay with it.
I don't like factions when it's Flash Morgan Webster.
But I've been enjoying UK lately, so I don't know, I just thought I'd do a very quick comment on it, but that is all I have. So do you need any?
I would like to throw a flash grenade at Flash Morgan Webster.
Nice. You don't like Flash Morgan Webster, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything else? No? All right, so let's move into our final segment of the show, which is Jack looking at the world of wrestling action figures and stuff for a few minutes, and that is Figuring It Out with Jack.
We got the world's worst basic series revealed at Basic
Sweet.
122. It literally only has 4 figures. It's missing one, I guess, only, but still. Damian Priest, cool. Chelsea Green, released.
Wow,
but
really?
still,
She got a figure and she's gone.
It was already planned.
Yeah,
to be
obviously.
fair.
Obviously.
I guess she's not getting the Chase variant anymore so Charlotte Flair and Drew McIntyre. I think the Chase variant is Damian Priest, which is the same figure as his normal, but it includes rib wrap, which makes it the Chase variant.
I guess it's different.
But then, it's weird because I know Chelsea Green was also supposed to get Chase variant, so I think it's going to be Damian Priest because Chelsea Green's getting released. But I don't know. It could be.
Well,
Chelsea
and Priest
Green.
is kind of focused on too a little bit, right?
But the issue with his Chase variant is the same figure with an accessory.
Any friend of Bad Bunny deserves a chase. Okay. Okay.
So it can chase you and haunt you forever.
Yes. Well, because you're a big deal, because you're tangled up with that.
And then we got a pretty
guy.
sweet thing revealed on Wednesday. Ringside exclusive AEW Unrivaled 2-pack. It's Jurassic Express.
Yeah.
Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy.
Looks cool.
Both are wearing their white attire and they have new Grimace head scans, which look really nice. And
Grimace,
if you wanted
the
to,
character from McDonald's.
No.
So it's like Luchasaurus's body with Grimace's head on it.
No.
And
They're
why would they both
grimacing.
have matching heads? That's weird.
They're grimacing.
Oh.
Luchasaurus's mask here is actually the exact same as the mask design is the
I thought
exact
he looked
same
really good.
as his AEW Unrivaled 5 figure. So if you wanted to swap this head scan for the yelling mouth open expression, you could. And same with Jungle Boy. He's also got his other one. It's a mouth closed stern expression.
Yes, we've gotten to the point in this house where we now swap heads if he wants. We heat
Well,
up.
in the AEW ones, you can literally just pop them off, which is the good thing.
But the WWE ones, we got to heat them up with a hairdryer, pop them off. But we've gotten pretty good at it now, so we can mix and match heads.
I think we could get to the point of
legs, limbs,
and stuff. Yeah.
Limb targeting.
But, packaging is Jungle Boy and Lucha's shoulders, but they're in their entrance. But there's a packaging variant titled "A Boy and His Dinosaur" where the roles are reversed.
Yep, it looks cool.
Which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
It looks awesome. I like the packaging and whatnot, but it's a shame they didn't make it a 3-pack with Marco because we just don't get 3-packs anymore. And I don't know if Marco would get.
And it would be such a small expense. It's like half a figure, you know.
Right.
You just throw them in there.
I just think that'd be really cool. Anyways, that's it.
Nice. Well, that brings us to the end of episode 41. What do you think our time is? What are we running? If you had to guess.
We started at 1:30-ish, so 3 hours.
Yeah, we're at 2.5. We took a bit of a break in between.
Oh, right.
So it's a good, solid episode.
Damn it.
Thanks again to anybody that joined us and checked out the podcast this week. Obviously, we're on anywhere you can get podcasts pretty much, right? So Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever else there is. If they have podcasts, we're probably on it. Also on YouTube if you want to check us out there. Love to hear feedback from anyone at any point. I don't know if there's any bonus shows coming up this week. I don't have anything planned.
No, I don't. It depends.
Just keep an eye out. You never know.
If we have school and there's not an event, usually not, but we'll see.
Yep, you never know.
If we're feeling like it.
So just keep an eye out. If you subscribe or follow, you'll get notified, I'm sure. Anyways, that would be great. Thanks to everybody for taking some time out of your week to join us. And I guess we'll see you back here on Saturday. And until then,
Probably.
take care.